What a joy today to step into the time machine and be greeted by Zaz being sports radio mad at a baseball manager.
Yeah, that's right.
Felt like I was going back into the 80s and 90s when people got pissed off at a manager, when I'm pretty sure he just has to come out and be the face. Clayton McCullough has to be the face of an organizational decision. Like, he's a total middle manager who gets all of the heat and hatred for pulling a starter with a perfect game after 7 innings because he's thrown a few over 90 pitches.
Grow a pair. I mean, the Marlins won a World Series because you had a guy who went with his gut. And Josh Beckett went out there in Game 6 on short rest and won your World Series with a shutout because the manager went with his gut.
Yeah, but playing the A's in July isn't quite a World Series, and this is a young arm coming off of
92 pitches.
injury.
Oh, my God. It's not 192.
But it's a young arm coming off of injury. It doesn't matter to you that he's making like his 3rd start off of injury?
You say that as if you believe if it was his 10th start coming off injury, they wouldn't have done the same thing.
Well, baseball's different now, and you either accept it or you howl at the moon because it's not going to change. This is how they do things now in July. They're protecting precious arms. I don't know why they're protecting him. I'm watching the Rays got Drew Rasmussen. He had 2 Tommy John surgeries while he was in college. Like, I don't know why they're protecting any of the arms, but they are protecting the arms, and it seems like Uri Perez has learned how to pitch because he's no longer walking people. Like, the guy's got filthy stuff, but he just walked everybody, and now he's throwing in the zone. But you find yourself what level of mad? Because for you to summon outrage when the Marlins are the best team in baseball since the beginning of June, and for this to be what gets on your radar, because it's hard to get on the sports radar this month. It's been a little bit crazy with everything happening, hockey and baseball deciding championships, the World Cup. We have not talked about the fact that the Marlins, since the beginning of June, have the best team in baseball. They just ransacked the A's.
You're right about that part, but in a 162-game season, give me a few things throughout the course of the summer that I can get excited about. And when I see through 5 innings that Uri Perez, because I don't have the Marlins on every day, but when I see through 5 innings that Uri Perez is perfect, and then I put it on one of the TVs, not the big one, Dan. Let's get serious here. I put it on the small TV.
What was on the big one?
I was watching House of the Dragon. And, I mean, this new season, it's off to a really good start, Dan. Like, do you no, I don't want to give up any spoilers, but holy shit, the queen is back.
No, Zaz just touched on the real tension in all of this. This has nothing to do with the actual McCullough taking out the pitcher. You know what happened yesterday? It's the people that have been paying attention to the Marlins getting mad at all the people who aren't paying attention to the Marlins, swooping in and being outraged at Clayton McCullough. So that's what it was in the group chat. It was, you haven't been, this is he should fire him. Well, you haven't watched 2 games this year. I've been watching all year. That was the tension yesterday.
One of those people was Billy Gill, who immediately fired
that guy.
Fired Clayton McCullough.
That is his lane in his defense. He's been on that beat for a while.
Just fired Clayton McCullough yesterday for taking him out in after the 7 perfect innings. Do you know how many perfect games there have been in the history of baseball?
Yes.
Because in the 90s it was 15. What's the number now?
24.
Every Marlin fan knows this morning.
That's just brutal.
Ball is back, Jack. The beautiful game is on a roll, and we'll have an eye on every goal, shouting magisterial. No need to back down. Just park the bus, stop the attack. With the hand of God, put your header back on track. Football is back, Jack. Mbappe's flying through the air. Ronaldo's here for one last prayer. Will Messi come out to play? Or is it victory for the USA? It's corner kicks when the box is packed. That's how you know that football is back, Jack. Let me hear you say. yell, let's go States! No need to back down. Just strike the ball, start the attack. If you say this game's the best, I'll say it's a gag. Football is back, Jack. Football is back, Jack. Football is back. Football is back, Jack.
Oakland is almost totally dead as a baseball town. A's fans haven't been heard from in decades, but yesterday they were disgusted with the Marlins.
Well,
They're saying shame right now.
Yes.
So what they used to do to the Salem witches, like just they're just dispensing shame, not on Uri Perez, but on Clayton McCullough. I've got this right, Jeremy? You're around the team all the time. That's not a Clayton McCullough decision. He's got to take it on the chin, but he's just the middle manager executing what the front office wants there, correct?
Yeah, these are discussions that happen between the front office and the manager and the rest of their coaching staff going into the game. It's however many ups, it's however many pitches.
And we have sound of McCullough where he says, I had a plan today. It was 90 pitches plus a batter. And it just seems like, all right, you made that exact decision. You can't adjust slightly. I feel like you could adjust slightly, but
I have said before, and you've heard me say before, I don't understand the point of having judges if all they're going to do is follow the letter of the law. I want my judges to show judgment. I want them to be arbiters who decide difficult things outside of the letter of the rule. But let's hear from McCullough here explaining why he pulled Uri Perez, who was on his way to possibly the 25th perfect game of all time. Keep in mind, the perfect game is rarer than the World Cup in the history of baseball. Like on average, it happens less than once every 4 years. Here's McCullough explaining why he took Perez out after 90 plus pitches.
Clayton, obviously a wild win. We'll start with Uri today after 7 perfect. Just what went into the decision to take him out?
I mean, that was going into this game, like 90 plus a batter was a pitch count that I felt comfortable with him coming back off the time on the IL, and us looking to play beyond the regular season. Uri's going to be an important part of that. So yeah, I mean, he had it really going today, and I totally get it. And there was a part of my heartstrings pulling at his opportunity to keep on going. But I think I have to think about Uri, one, and our organization, our team, and what's best moving forward to give us a chance to continue to win games. So made a more of a calculated decision with where he was with the pitch count to take him out.
All right, if you're actually going to think about Uri Perez, you would have left him in. All right, because Uri Perez definitely wants to have a perfect game and definitely feels like I can throw a few more pitches than 92. At the very least, Dan, throw him out there in the 8th inning. How do you know you don't have an immaculate inning? Maybe it's 3 pitches. 3 pitches he gets out, and now he's just 3 outs away. Let him go out there. See what can happen at the start of the 8th inning, and instead, no. I mean, my heartstrings really want me to do it, but instead I'm not.
I've got a couple of things here. First, an immaculate inning, I believe, is 9 pitches. You strike
Nailed
out people with 9.
Whatever.
Well, you called it the immaculate inning. It's not
Baseball
3 pitches.
guy.
Well, put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Should the immaculate inning be 3 pitches instead of 9 pitches? The other thing I wanted to mention, heartstrings. What are those, arteries? Like, what are heartstrings? Can someone tell me what heartstrings are? And then this is the most amazing part, and we're just skipping past it. That dude just mentioned playoffs. Like, that dude just talked about his number 2 starter in the playoffs, and it's not asinine. Like, it's not, what he is saying is not asinine, because the lowest payroll in baseball is that team is playing out of its mind, Zaz. They've lost 6 times since the beginning of June.
No, but it is asinine because we're going to look back if the Marlins make the playoffs. And again, huge if. I know they're tied for the final spot right now. They're like 23-9 since the beginning of June. But you're telling me we're going to look back at the Marlins qualifying for the postseason? Like, Thank God Yuri Perez didn't go in the 8th inning, that game that he could have had perfect. Thank goodness.
The Marlins have had some live arms. Like, they're allowing Ryan Weathers to figure out whether or not he's going to grow into a power arm, top of the rotation guy somewhere else, because he never figured out here how not to walk people. But it seems like Perez has figured this part out. It's a small sample, but he throws such a heavy baseball in the zone. Like, It reminds me of Kevin Brown, like 6 or 7 miles an hour faster, like, because he's just throwing a shot put up there that is really hard to hit hard when it's in the zone, and all he's got to do is keep it in the zone. He's a really strong-armed, live-armed pitcher.
And by the way, what's frustrating too? Like, I don't want to hear people say, "Oh, but it was the right move. It was the right move," because the Marlins not only are trying to save Yuri Perez, but they're trying to win the game. Well, if you're trying to win the game, it was not the right move, because through 7 innings, the Marlins didn't allow a base runner, and then the next 2 innings they gave up 8 runs. So it was actually not the right move.
I need to point that part out too. Okay, as absurd as the manager of the Marlins sitting here in July saying, "Yeah, I got to save him for the postseason," as absurd as this. The conversation today about the Marlins is, how could you take out a pitcher who had a perfect game in a 9-8 game? Like, that game ended 9-8 because as soon as they took him out, every reliever that got brought in and got his nipples on fire and ran to the dugout scared, while A's fans chanted shame at them like if it was Salem in the 1700s.
So stop telling me it was the right move, because if the Marlins only scored 7 runs, you lose a game that you were perfect through 7 innings. So it was not the right move.
Meanwhile, I've got Mike Ryan has gone totally off of the deep end here. He's going to Atlanta. He's immersed in World Cup in a way that I don't believe is totally healthy for him, because it's knocked askew his perspective. He's about to go to Atlanta, upset that he's getting Messi in the game. He wanted Cabo Verde instead of Messi. He's bothered that he's going to Atlanta tomorrow to see Lionel Messi play soccer. It's not the person he wanted in that game.
I'm glad we're finally getting around to what was one of the biggest spectacles in the history of sport, and I'm not even talking about what happened last night. It would have been the biggest upset ever. Cabo Verde played so friggin' well against the world champions. For my money, when you apply the context of where they are in FIFA World Rankings, their nation's footballing history, the best player in the world against guys who are literally unemployed right now. Presently, this was, I'm still swept away in what I saw Friday at Hard Rock Stadium between Cabo Verde and Argentina. That was such a great story. Everybody, even if you openly had disdain for soccer, stopped by the television and understood what was on the line, what the story was, and everybody was rooting for Cabo Verde.
It's hard to explain to people. You've got not just the defending World Cup champions. You've got Messi, who's still playing the best soccer in the world in a tournament that still has most of its stars outside of the folks who play for Brazil. And it's really struggling against a team that was a 2.5-goal underdog, which you rarely see this late in the tournament. A 2.5-goal underdog with a 40-year-old goalie in Vozinha, who is being given by his country, which is smaller than the population of Wyoming, a home, a Rolls Royce worth $500,000, a statue, and also, and I don't know what this means exactly, because once you've given him the home, lifetime free accommodations. Does that mean that he can go in any house in the country and just sleep on a bed in there? It's not just hotels.
He's going to be sleeping in plenty of strangers' beds.
How does this work, though? Your 40-year-old goalie who has just become a sensation started the tournament with how many followers?
40-something thousand.
And now has nearly 20 million followers because this game is amazing and the world is interested.
As of this morning, by the way, it's up to 27.
So the 40-year-old goalie gets fallen in love with in a way that makes Mike regret that Messi's playing in the game that he's flying to Atlanta to see tomorrow.
I would have traded all 4 matches that I've either attended or am going to attend in this World Cup to have said I was in that building for that second goal that Cabo Verde scored, an absolute worldie. And Cabo Verde played so well down the stretch, too. They made so many pushes. They came so close. Everyone, like I said, understood the storylines going into that. Argentina looking so relieved at the end because they barely got across the line against a bunch of people that no one knows. It was just, dude, this is why we do it. This is why we do it. Anybody can understand that storyline. It was incredible. Outside of the final between France and Argentina, when you apply all the context and the drama, that's the second best World Cup match I think I've ever seen.
Well, let's talk for a second about the way that you have thrown perspective aside by saying it might have been the biggest sporting event of any kind played in South Florida. World Cup tickets all over the place are going for an average cost of $4,400. The experience in what is being called Miami Stadium, I had a funny incident, I'm going to call it an incident the other day, where some people who were in town for the World Cup game went up to some people I know with their tickets, and they're like, "Where's Miami Stadium?" And the answer to that was, "You've got fake tickets. There is no Miami Stadium."
Wow.
Miami Stadium is something we had as a minor league part in the 1970s because FIFA won't allow it to be called Hard Rock Stadium, so they've just named it Miami Stadium. But there's no such thing as Miami Stadium except for this tournament. It has to be an unpleasant experience there just because those players were all cramping at the end. This is unreasonable weather to be playing this intensity of games late. It's a crazy thickness, a soup of humidity that is, you had players cramping all over the place late in that game.
And it was cooler than it was in Philadelphia. I was in Philadelphia for France Paraguay, second hottest I've ever been at a sporting event in my entire life, behind at Gainesville to open up the season a couple of seasons ago. That was insane. It was 140 degrees on the field. I was there with a 6-year-old. It was sweltering.
Where are you on Mike saying, because I don't believe that this will stand the test of time because Cabo Verde didn't win the game. I don't believe it will go down historically as one of the best things to ever happen in South Florida sports history. But Mike is making the argument on behalf of this being one of the biggest things to ever happen in South Florida, when I thought Colombia-Portugal was supposed to be that a week earlier. And here you are with just a really unknown soccer team challenging the defending champions right until the end of that game.
Dan, it's funny that you mentioned that. I have a top 5 games ever having taken place at Miami Stadium.
Wow. So it's just that stadium. It's not all of South Florida. It's just that
there.
stadium. Okay.
Just there.
Okay, so what do we have to choose from? We have some Marlins baseball to choose from. We have some University of Miami football to choose from, and we have some Dolphins to choose from.
Got a lot of great stuff here to choose from. But this a top 5 list only has 5, okay? So, yes, there's a lot of things. Some things I had to not include. All right, you ready?
Yes.
I got OLI.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
What is, it sounded like there was no L in there.
OLI.
It sounded OOI. It sounded like that you just sort of swallowed the L.
All right, keep up, Dan. OLI first. Marlins, Yankees, Game 5, 2003, World Series. A 6-4 Marlins extra inning win. Alex Gonzalez with the walk-off home run.
Braden Looper getting out of a bases-loaded no-out jam against the Yankees.
What a night.
The Cabrera home run against Clemens.
Make your own list.
It's a part of your list.
Another OLI.
That's in your list. He's
literally that game.
He's giving you details from that game. Why does he have to make his own list? Why can't he give you details from that game?
Oh, wait, wrong.
That was game 4.
I forgot about that. All right, OLI 2023 Miami Open. That's right, 2023 Miami Open Women's Final. You know about that Petra Kvitova versus Elena Rybakina? That's right. 7-6, 6-2. Kvitova won. Very long. The tiebreak was 16-14. Longest in Miami Open history. That's right. And Rybakina came in on a 13-match win streak. Huge upset, Dan. All right, I got a couple more OLI. 2024 Copa America Final. Argentina 1, Colombia 0. You know about that fans sneaking in and climbing in through the air vents like John McClane in Die Hard?
That can't be in your list.
OLI.
I got an email to join a class action lawsuit about that match.
Considering it?
Well, my experience was fine. I'm not joining it.
I got one more OLI. Super Bowl 23. That was in 1989 for those of you keeping track. 49ers beat the Bengals 20-16. You may remember infamously, Dan, that's where Joe Montana got in the huddle on the 8-yard line under 2 minutes and said, "Hey, there's John Candy," before calling the play in the huddle.
That is a true story. He looked into the stands. They were on the 8-yard line. They needed a game-winning drive, and he was so relaxed. Cool Joe was so relaxed that he pointed out that John Candy was in the stands.
Number 5, top 5 games at Miami Stadium.
I should have said Joe Cool, not Cool Joe. I was dyslexic about his nickname.
In 2000, the last time the Miami Dolphins won a playoff game, the Lamar Smith game, 23-17 win in overtime.
It wasn't on television.
You had to be there.
Over the Colts.
Literally, you had to be there. It was the only way that you could watch it. It was blacked out locally because it wasn't a sellout.
It's the last time that the Miami Dolphins won a playoff game.
Well, what a game it was.
That's crazy to say. That was 2001.
What? 2000.
Oh, my God.
What a game it was. Number 4, Marlins Giants, Game 4, 2003, NLDS. Pudge Rodriguez, he holds on to the ball for a 7-6 win. First time ever in baseball history that a series ended with a play at the plate, and Pudge Rodriguez, he's holding up the ball to the crowd and says, "I got the effing ball right here." That's right. Jeremy, I don't know what you're doing. You weren't even alive. All right.
I was there.
2003, that's number 4. Number 3, WrestleMania 28. Once in a lifetime, Rock versus Cena. The Rock. He won, and the crowd went wild.
I heard Eric Andre talking the other day about the new show on Netflix that he's doing with Cena. This can't be true. Is he joking when he says that John Cena learned Mandarin just for fun and is a classically trained pianist? Is he just doing comedy there, or is that true?
I don't know about the penis part, but the Mandarin part is definitely true because he's told the story before how WWE and like their benefits package for their wrestlers, they will sponsor you to go learn a language, and he did it.
So you think John Cena has a classically trained penis? That's what you think that I just said. How would that work? Would it wear a tuxedo? Like what would be a penis that
Definitely
was
uncircumcised.
classically
With
trained?
a bow tie.
Put it on the poll. Is a classically trained penis definitely uncircumcised? Yes or no? And Jeremy, get to me on heartstrings, please. I want to know why they're called heartstrings that are being pulled on.
Yeah, I've been looking for it. Hold on. On heartstrings, the origin is in the 1500s, but there doesn't seem to be a real reason outside of tying it to like the hamstring, or they used to call the heel string the Achilles, but it's not a real thing.
It's possible that they didn't know how to name arteries back then, so they just called them strings.
Number 2.
I thought that was number 2.
No, keep up, man. Number 2, Argentina survives.
No.
Cape. What do you mean no? Did you
You
watch
mean no?
the
You
game?
sound like a fool.
Did you watch the
What?
game? It was one of the greatest sporting events I've ever seen.
Better than Pudge holding on to the baseball.
Yeah, goofs. Easily. The second goal. What are we doing?
Cape Verde had an entire nation scared. They were scared.
Messi had to score a goal and get an assist, the game winner. The best player in the world, had to be the best player to beat a bunch of electricians.
It's unbelievable. Like, while you were watching the game, I was on ESPN at the time, like watching it live on the air, giving updates, and I'm like, there's something's happening here. Even when the game was just 1-1, it's like, we're watching something's going on.
Well, that is accurate. Something was happening, and it's just something that ended up not happening.
Dan, your take on this is garbage. I can't wait to see where Stephen A.
rock.
has it on his A list.
And finally, number 1, the greatest match that ever took place at Miami Stadium. The end of an era. Dan, you know about that end of an era? WrestleMania 28, Hell in a Cell, Triple H versus Undertaker. You know about that false finish?
You know who the referee was for that one?
Heartbreak Kid.
Did you forget about Game 7 of the World Series in extra innings?
No, it wasn't good enough. Just like the national championship game that just recently happened. Just not good enough to crack OLI.
Told
It's
you.
a great list.
Make your own list.
So 2 things from WrestleMania 28.
Yeah.
Separately make the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an incredible card. Did you watch the end of an era?
No.
We got a whole bunch of people weighing in on this that didn't watch end of an era.
Jeff Conine had to reach home plate from left field. It's a miracle.
Triple H had the sledgehammer in his hand as the
Guys.
triangle choke is going.
I think Jeremy's point here is WrestleMania 28 should have just been
Should have just been
of
one
them.
thing.
No, it had 2 great all-time matches.
No, yeah, it's not top 5 greatest cards at Miami Stadium.
Events.
It's top 5 matches.
Daniel Bryan losing inside of 4 seconds didn't even make the cut.
Nope, not even close.
Game 7 of the World Series decided in extra innings can't go behind 2 WrestleMania matches.
Did you watch the matches? No. Did you watch the matches? Because for many, Triple H versus Undertaker, end of an era, inside Hell in a Cell, refereed by Shawn Michaels, is the greatest WrestleMania match ever.
Dan, what should I have knocked off the top 5? Don't do the thing where it's like, oh, so-and-so got snubbed. He should have been an all-star. Tell me who should not have been an all-star.
You could have just said WrestleMania, put it in there as one event, and then made room for Game 7 of the World Series.
Well,
in extra
WrestleMania
innings.
was at Madison Square Garden in 1985. I'm talking about WrestleMania 28. That was in Miami Stadium.
Thank you for the clarifications. Before we go any further, this is something I wanted to mention last week, and we never got to it because just sports are going crazy right now. But for those of you who are not paying attention to college football in the offseason, everyone is noticing what Miami is doing in recruiting. On average, according to Rivals, they've got the best recruiting class. It's technically number 3 overall, but on average, they are getting better recruits than everyone else. They're taking Georgia's recruits and LSU's recruits and Oregon's recruits. Their receiving room was considered top 10 just because Malachi Toney is in it, and they're the only top 10 receiving group that has improved from what it is that they were. The way people are talking about who Miami's getting, Zaz, is top of the class. It's the Alabama recruits back when Nick Saban was dominating college football. Everyone is noticing that the thing has not merely been turned around. What you're getting now is the best of the best. Nobody's out recruiting Miami.
So 2 things. Number 1, shouldn't this be how it always is moving forward? Like, we should always be in this conversation. And number 2, why should, like, this is what it should be forever with Cristobal as the coach.
It sounds like number 2 was exactly like number 1.
Pretty similar.
It seems like you forgot what number 2 was after you said number 1.
If I could be perfectly honest here, I'm a little bit shook because I regret not having the Game 7 top 5.
Add it to the OLI. Or do like Greg and put it at number 2 and just.
I'm a little bit. I don't normally get like this. I'm a little bit embarrassed. Normally, I'm very confident.
What was your second point gonna be? Because you said number 1 and then you said number 2, and number 2
It
was
should always
exactly
be like this.
Were you
And number 1 is, with Cristobal, he should do this more.
No, he said exactly the same thing. He just threw in Cristobal. It was the same thing because he forgot what number 2 was. Have you now remembered what number 2 was, or you still don't remember what number 2 was?
No, I think they were the same, but because I said them differently in my head, it made me think they were different.
Everyone forgot we said Cool Joe.
Hey, that's me.
Hey.
I'm embarrassed.
So you forgot. You're admitting now publicly that you simply forgot an extra, an extra inning Game 7 of the World Series. There's only been one of those played in Miami ever.
It's the first championship I ever saw in my life.
Well,
not professional level.
Either way, Zaz, I agree with both your points.
So, Mike, you have noticed, right, the people who are talking about college football will not shut up about the recruits that Miami is getting.
Now you have proof of concept. You were literally in the national championship game, a drive away from winning. Mario Cristobal has done a lot of good recruiting, especially in the portal,
He should
and
always do
doesn't
this.
get enough credit for his evaluations and his development, because our best player right now was a 3-star. Ruben Bain was a 4-star. famously didn't, because of the measurables, didn't make it to 5 stars. So they've developed guys that have come in. Markel Bell makes an NFL career out of himself, coincidentally, with the new NCAA rules that give you all 5 years. No matter what, you get it in. No more medical red shirts. Markel Bell would have come back to Miami had this ruling happened beforehand. Now we're rolling. Or as Greg Cody would say, we're rolling now, huh? You have a good team, which was the only thing that was really keeping Mario Cristobal out of the game for the elite talents. Now they want to matter. You want to be featured on the game of the week? Hell, if Miami and Notre Dame handle their business, that's going to be dubbed game of the century type of hype. Now you come to Miami to play the big games. A huge advantage for Mario Cristobal. Now he doesn't have to sell people on a vision. He sells people on the present.
Malachi Toney was not a 5-star recruit.
Malaki.
He was considered somebody who was undersized. I saw that ESPN came out with its list of most famous college football uniform numbers of all time, and there were 5 Hurricanes on the list. You guys want to take some guesses on the 5 all-time uniform numbers
47.
that have been worn by Miami? That's one. Michael Irvin was one of the 5. Go ahead. How many more do you think you can get?
I think we can get them all.
You think you can get them all?
47.
Yeah. You can't count that one twice.
Right, twice.
That is also correct, the same way it was the first time that you said it. Do you want to guess another, or are you just going to keep guessing 47 5 times?
I'll try some others.
All right. What else you got?
11.
No.
15.
No.
18.
No.
26.
No.
22.
Wait, 26? No.
No.
26? No.
Sean Taylor's a no.
22.
Whoa.
No.
Number 1's supposed to be special in Miami. Is number 1 on there?
No.
8.
No.
5.
52.
Yes, 52 is on there for Ray Lewis. You're doing very poorly here, Zaz, as someone who thought he was going to get all 5. You've
I'll
now
get all
gotten
5.
Well, you've gotten more than 5 wrong already.
No, but I'll get all 5. 87.
No.
86.
No.
85.
No.
84.
No.
83.
No.
82.
No.
81.
No.
80.
No.
89.
No.
90.
No.
91.
No.
92.
No.
93.
No.
94.
No.
Not 94. That was Dwayne Johnson's.
No.
96.
No.
97.
No.
98.
No.
99.
No.
100.
No.
$47.
Yes, 47. We've established you've
That's
gotten
3.
so far. You've gotten 2 right and 170 wrong. Do you want to keep trying, or do you want to give up?
No, 26 is nuts. Am I too close to that? Because I think Sean Taylor is one of those stories that transcends even Miami.
I believe that Sean Taylor obviously had the reputation where Miami people knew who he was while he was in college, but he wasn't even the best safety the University of Miami has had while in college. That was Ed Reed, who was the best safety while in college, and that number is not retired. That is not one of the all-time numbers. You are still missing 3. I will give you the clue of they are all interior linemen on the offensive and defensive
Odd or
line.
even?
2 of them are even. One of them is odd. All interior linemen. So who do you have?
60.
No.
61.
No.
62.
No.
63.
No.
64.
No.
65.
No.
66.
No.
67.
Yes.
Nice.
Do you know who that is?
The guy.
It is the guy. It is indeed the guy. It is somebody who is the guy, number 67.
Shirko Rasha Azuli.
Russell Maryland. That's the tough one to get on the list. Do you want to keep going?
Yes.
Go ahead.
68.
No.
69.
No.
70.
No.
71.
No.
72.
No.
73.
No.
74.
No.
75.
No.
76.
Yes.
Nice.
Do you know who 76 is?
Yes.
You going to tell us?
Joaquin Gonzalez.
It's Warren Sapp. You got one more on the list.
78.
Correct. You skipped over 77 bravely.
Told you I knew.
So who is 78? Do you remember who 78 is?
Martin Bibla.
It's Bryant McKinney. who still one of the most amazing stats ever given in the history of sport, never allowed a sack in college in a game or in practice. Like that part, never allowed a sack in practice. I simply don't believe it's true. They keep saying it's true. McKinney swears it's true. I don't believe it's true. I don't believe that he didn't have one bad day at practice where he allowed a sack by mistake.
I'm picturing like his senior year, one gets by and he's just like, nobody saw that.
It can't be true, can it? Do you think it's possible, like that Jonathan Ogden or one of these guys who is just so much bigger than everybody else, that do you actually think it's within feasible logic that somebody never allowed a sack ever in practice? How high? Brian McKinney was taken middle of the first round, correct? He was Brian McKinney
was a little higher than that.
Was he? I think
top 10 pick, gotta be.
Yeah, I think so. I think he was top 10.
Regardless,
You want me to guess the number?
That is, yeah. You can sure you can guess.
47.
Yeah, that's the middle of the second round. Where was Bryant McKinney taken?
7.
Okay, so nothing yet on heartstrings, though. It's strange that
No, I've been
knows.
looking and looking and looking, and I cannot find anything else.
There are no butterflies in the stomach either. Just getting out in front of that one.
When you talk about, there's some stuff in the World Cup and around the World Cup that I do want to get to, especially considering the rare instance of everything that is surrounding the United States team and the game that they play tonight.
Biggest game in 20 years.
The President of the United States getting involved to overturn reportedly a red card suspension that now makes it so that Boligan is in a situation where he has had his ban suspended for a probationary period of 1 year, okay, which is funny, right? Because there's just a month left of games. And so his ban, he was banned and suspended, and then they lifted the ban, but Belgium is mad. Belgium is mad, and they are appealing it, but it is the rarest of things that has happened here. 2 wrongs, make it right. It has happened. I haven't seen it happen before. We're 2 wrong. He shouldn't have been suspended. You cannot suspend somebody for games that are once every 4 years unless it's super egregious, unless someone's got a hatchet and has dismembered somebody. Like, you cannot. The games are too important. It's got to be really egregious and sort of above argument. So he never should have been suspended. And obviously, the president of a country shouldn't get involved, host country shouldn't get involved to overturn something like this, because now everyone's rooting against the United States. Not that they weren't rooting before against the United States, but now they're really rooting against the United States, because this is indecent in terms of fair play. But 2 wrongs end up making it right, because he should play in the game. Like, he should not be out of the game.
But for it to come down about 24 hours away from the match is really unfair to sportsmanship. And I understand why Belgium and UEFA are fighting this tooth and nail. They can still appeal something, and they have a deadline that I think it expires at 8 a.m. Well, just expired at 8 a.m.
I thought it was 5 a.m. today.
Pacific time. So
you know time zones work?
I think Balogun's got to play, which is, I mean, great for the United States. And, yeah, when you get down to the heart of it, he shouldn't have been out in the first place, especially to miss the following match. The probationary thing means that if he gets another straight red at any point during that probationary period, he'll get suspended double the amount, so 2-game suspension there, which, again, FIFA is making the rules up as they go, because I was talking to a lot of plugged-in people. The impression was, at first, that the United States could appeal it, and then they couldn't appeal it because it wasn't given an initial 2-game suspension. And then they point to Article 27, which, if interpreted a certain way, gives them the power to do this. Meanwhile, New York Times has confirmed the White House did reach out to FIFA. FIFA pushed back on that, said it was all done through an independent counsel. No one believes them. All in Europe agrees that this isn't the way that you go about it. I do think optics matter. But the funniest optic we can all agree out of all of this is Donald Trump was acting on behalf of a birthright citizen.
Biggest game in 20 years.
Let me just make sure I'm following. So he was suspended. The suspension was suspended. and now Belgium has the opportunity to suspend the suspended suspension.
Correct.
Biggest game in 20 years.
For the United States, it's incredibly huge. And I think the odds have reflected this. The market price on the DK Sports app has certainly reflected. Balogun, who's been really huge for the United States of America, gets into threatening positions, been really good with the ball at his feet, puts the ball on frame. It is a huge upgrade just based on form from what we've seen from Ricardo Pepi. This is immense for the United States.
I hope we win 7-0 tonight. Everyone talk about, oh, the United States, they shouldn't be allowed this. Everybody's rooting for Belgium now. I hope Belgium crushes you. I hope the U.S. wins 7-0, and then the entire Belgian team, they have to come into the locker room afterward, and they have to make everybody a waffle.
Biggest game in 20 years.
I thought you were going to go 47-0.
Dan, that's not even reasonable.
The United States having its best goal scorer, because I think we can call him that, its best goal scorer reinstated because the most corrupt government administration teams with the most corrupt organization in the history of sports to do something that is flagrantly corrupt and also correct. Gotcha. Chris Cody and Roy revealed this to me. And Roy, I don't know the context of what it is that you guys were talking about that revealed this about Chris Cody.
Yeah, Chris asked me what the sound from the first down for the Dolphins games were. And I said
it's just a noise I've made throughout my entire life. It's just like I just did it. Hoo-wah!
Yeah.
And to me, that's another Miami Dolphins first down.
Well, let's find out. Let's find out if your dad knows, because he's not a real moviegoer. Instead of impersonating the sound, do you have the actual sound? Greg Cody, do you know who's making this sound?
Hoo-ah! I do.
Clark Gable.
Come on.
It's the famous actor.
Rock Hudson.
Oh, this is great. He doesn't know it.
no.
No, it's the famous actor. And I got to pin his name down because I don't think
You should be able to say this immediately.
I don't think it's Robert De Niro.
No.
But I think it's
in the neighborhood.
In the neighborhood. Give me a second. Robert De Niro.
Humphrey
Al Pacino.
Hey, there you go.
If someone said that in his headphones, you're fired.
Now,
No,
what movie?
nobody said
What
that.
movie?
It's APEC. What movie?
Streetcar Named Desire.
You ain't you. No. You're not man enough to know the truth. Something like
No.
That's a few
That's
good
the one I
men,
bought.
and that's a few good men.
Good answer. Good answer.
And it's
That
not,
is
you're not
brutal.
man enough to know the truth. I
You can't handle the truth.
Still no.
That's
don't know?
it's a different
Damn it.
movie.
Seriously?
Pacino was not in
You're
it.
not man enough to know the truth.
That was originally a line. Nicholson ad-libbed. They kept
Put it on the poll
that
at
was
Le
Nicholson.
Batard Show. Was Pacino in A Few Good Men? Was a blind Pacino?
Okay, who did he say? Who
Dad
said
on a
hoo-ah
hot
in
tin
what
roof.
movie?
Let's keep going. Let's see how long it takes you to get.
Play it again.
I think did he win an Oscar? I think
Yes.
he won an Oscar
Yes, he
for
won
this.
Best Actor.
Yes.
Bull Durham.
No.
Good answer. Good answer.
Put it on the
Raging
poll.
Bull. Raging
Put it on
Bull.
the poll.
Raging
No.
It's a bull movie.
Just naming De Niro movies.
Red Bull. I don't know.
Put it on the poll. Was a blind Pacino in Bull Durham?
Chicago Bull.
And put it on the poll as well. Was a blind Pacino in Raging Bull? First of all, it's a really random thing to have stick in a Dolphin.
I say it all the time.
No, but it's been for 30 years. That movie's 30 years old. I don't want to tell him what the movie is. Keep guessing, Greg. Keep trying to guess what the Al Pacino movie. How many Oscars has Pacino won? Because he
A Few Good Men.
you already guessed that, and we already told you that it's not A Few Good Men.
Okay.
And you're not man enough to handle the truth.
Right. Okay.
Classic line.
It's got a military theme to it. I just can't come up with a
It's
name.
not a military theme, but I think he's a former military guy.
Okay,
And
that,
He was a colonel.
there you go.
Patton.
Colonel Sanders. I don't know. I'm never going to get it. I don't know movies.
Wow, it's his only Academy Award.
The
Greg doesn't know
scent
movies.
of a
Woman. See? I told you I was going to get it.
Your son had no idea where that sound
Where I
was
get it
from.
from.
This is
really?
2 generations of idiot. Pop
No.
culture idiot.
I knew it was Al Pacino.
Greg, you cannot listen
said
to
De
what you
Niro.
just did for the last 4 minutes and say that that is some sort of expertise that you're bragging about.
First of all, I speak for moviegoers in general. Al Pacino and De Niro are always interchangeable. They're always mistaken for each other. They're the same person.
De Niro could not have been the devil.
They've won the same awards. They're like the same people.
They were only in one scene together, like in their movie careers.
I know, but they're parallel lives. And you know it.
Put it on the poll. Do you often confuse De Niro and Pacino, and you know it? At Le
And you
Batard
know it.
Show.
You're going to have to wait for that one.
Exactly.
That was staggering. Even by the standards of the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody, where your son Michael asks you movie questions and you flail and fail and get them all wrong. Even by those standards, that was an amazing amount of ignorance.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings Sports. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
I have asked Pat Riley and Alex Rodriguez about this, and they both deny it. I have been told that both of them are the only people who have Armani privileges that allow them to walk into any Armani store in the world and grab what they want because of the kind of customer they've been. When I tell you that the goalie, the 40-year-old goalie of Cape Verde ends up getting lifetime accommodations in his country, what does that look like exactly? Like, is there a card? Do all the hotels know about this? How do you imagine the execution of this goes, where he's able to get lifetime accommodations for free anytime he wants to stay anywhere? And if you had that, would you just not pop in every once in a while to a hotel and just take a quick shower and use the room without paying and just leave because it's closer than your house, and you can use the entire country as if it is your home?
Okay, so the question you're asking isn't, does everybody know it's him? It's, how does everybody know that this is allowed?
Well, is every person who owns an establishment that usually charges to have people stay there, do they all know that they have to give it to him for free? Or is there a card involved? Or is, like, I've told you the story before, okay? There was a Guns N' Roses was beginning its reunion tour, and and I was with Carrot Top, and he's like, "Do you want to go?" And I'm like, "Well, we don't have tickets, we don't have parking. Like, what? How do we do it?" And he just does this, where he circles his face. And then, sure enough, he pulls in and he just puts his window down, and all the doors and gates in Las Vegas open everywhere he goes, because his face is the ID in Vegas. He's been playing in Vegas for so long. I'm really asking you guys about practically, and we'll get to the games in a second, because there's a lot of good World Cup stuff to talk about, and I want to talk about all of it before we get to what is obviously the biggest game in more than 20 years, but we only have drunken Cody Imaging saying 2 decades worth of drunken biggest game.
Biggest game in 20 years.
You imagine that looks how? Lifetime free accommodations in your country.
It seems like you want a real answer here, so I'm going to give it to you. I would
You
guess,
don't know Cabo Verde logistics?
I would
Do your
guess
best.
that it's some government worker that is now like his person. So anytime he wants to do something, he reaches out to this government person, and this government person will just make it happen.
That's
Reach out to the hotel,
good
wherever
theory.
you want to go. How many nights? How many? Oh, you want 4 rooms? All right, your limit's 2. Unless you're going to a cheaper place, then we can get you 3.
Dismiss it. Say it's not good enough.
I like it. Good choice. Excellent work by you, Chris. Before we get to the World Cup stuff, though, there are 3 basketball things that I want to tackle with you guys. The first, Jalen Brunson's dad, Rick Brunson, says that the greatest Knick of all time is Patrick Ewing. Still. And I say that's not true. I say that he is wrong. And the reason that he's wrong is when you average in the playoffs, Zaz, 30, when you average 30 and then close it out with 45 and win the championship, that makes you golden forever. I think that's where he passes Patrick Ewing, who never won a title. Your thoughts are what there?
My thoughts are he agrees with you, and he cannot actually say with other people listening that his son is the greatest Knick ever.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Jalen Brunson averaging 30 and scoring 45 in a clincher. Greatest Knick ever, yes or no? I want to get to LeBron in a second, but one thing that I didn't mention last week because of just the nature of how stunning the Jaylen Brown stuff is. First, in the history of the Boston Celtics, they've never been laughed at like that. Ever. In the history of Boston sports, you're going to have a hard time finding anything other than, Babe Ruth and Mookie Betts, basically. You're going to have a hard time finding anything in the history of Boston sports that gets a franchise laughed at like this. But the part that's made me uncomfortable, I don't know if you guys have seen Colin Cowherd. He credited Daryl Morey for making that trade, even though Daryl Morey hasn't been with the Sixers for a few months now. He was the first to get out there with Jaylen Brown is of the belief that he is the smartest guy in every room, and that basically he has a disease. He called it a disease of being the smartest guy in every room. Now, that's a step from uppity. Like, it's a couple of notes from uppity on where the smearing of Jaylen Brown goes. Jaylen Brown, I'm guessing, is very often the smartest guy in every locker room. that he's in. He's a really smart human being, and the smearing of him has started in a way that makes me uncomfortable, because this is not a person who deserves to be smeared based on what his resume of credentials is, public behavior and play. Like this does not qualify as earned what's happening to Jaylen Brown in the way that he is being smeared. But let's listen to him react to Colin Cowherd, because he is fighting with media members one by one.
There's so many different forms of intelligence. Whatever you value is whatever you value. I never told anybody, like, look, I'm the smartest person in the room. That may be how they took it. But let's keep it a buck. Like, in sports, no offense to everybody in sports, but the bar is f***ing low. You know what I mean? Like, the bar isn't that high. So I think that's what people need to take into consideration. It's like, okay, he's one of the smartest athletes, but like a lot of the athletes and like, you know what I mean? How high is the bar really? You know what I mean? No, and that's no diss. We got a lot of smart athletes.
He's basically saying, yeah, I am the smartest guy in most of the room.
Look at these idiots.
No diss, though.
Look at my colleagues. They're
No
dumb
diss.
as rocks.
No diss.
I agree with what he says at the beginning there, because this is something I object to all the time in sports, okay? You dismiss someone as dumb in sports, even though at what they do, they might happen to be a genius. Like, generally speaking, when you're good enough to be better than the top 1% of the top 1% of something that the world is competing at, you have an intelligence for that in a way that might make you a little lopsided and might keep you from other intelligences, because it's hard to stay there. So the genius for that is, to me, not unlike whatever your genius is in making Tesla, or whatever it is that you assign intelligence points to based on how you define intelligence. But do you understand what I'm saying? Jaylen Brown now has a negative connotation he does not deserve. Like, this is not based on his behavior. There's nothing on this person's resume, a really impressive resume of all manner of accomplishment, not just basketball accomplishment. This is a smart human being, and he's getting dragged in a way that's just not reasonable. It's not fair, and it's just because people want to laugh at Boston.
Well, which part do you think has hurt his reputation more? What you're talking about there, and, you know, the smear campaign, you know, his behavior, smartest guy in the room, that kind of stuff? Or is it what I actually believe has been the most hurtful to his reputation is what his value was in this trade? That, to me, is what has really hurt his reputation, is all the stuff coming out about how nobody really wanted him. No one was willing to give up what Boston was looking for. And look, they just had to trade for Paul George's corpse. That's apparently what Jaylen Brown's
I've read a lot about this over the weekend trying to understand it. And it seemed, because the Boston Celtics are not run by dumb people. And what this is basically them getting out ahead of something that changed over the last 3 years, which is, you can't have 70% of your payroll tied up in two guys. And that all changed in the last 3 years. You could do it 3 years ago. You can't do it anymore. And so they're getting out in front of, okay, we'll do the unpopular thing right now. And you're right. His value, his greatness has taken a hit without a game being played. His greatness has taken a hit this offseason. But when you say what's done the most damage to his reputation, I don't think it's even that. I think it's this. He won't stand down. Like, he's fighting everybody. And so you fight everybody. You're in the news stream every day in a way you weren't, and in a way that no number 2 player in the league on any team gets. Like, there's no such thing as what's happening with Jaylen Brown right now, where he's now gone from popular to unpopular to polarizing, and he hasn't really done anything. Like, what's he done? He's just on the internet saying, hey, don't treat me unfairly. I'm not going to keep quietly taking the fact that all of you continue to treat me unfairly.
He is occupying a piece of Aaron Rodgers' real estate, though, not understanding why he's in the news stream when he injects himself into the news stream by adding on to the story, giving something that the talking heads he is openly fighting with more to discuss, and then pointing the finger at everybody else like, why is everybody talking about me?
Rodgers is a great example.
Also a Cal guy.
And also a guy who I think most of us would describe as smartest guy in the room.
It's a Berkeley thing.
Oh, but wait a minute, though. Aaron Rodgers did something Jaylen Brown didn't do, which has opine on an assortment of different things that don't have anything to do with either sports or the media. Like Jaylen Brown's keeping it classified to one area. He's not giving you a whole bunch of disagreeable, polarizing opinions on an assortment of different things.
Understood, but that's why, I mean, he has done some social justice stuff, which has been really, really good, but that was years ago. But that's why I said he's in that class, because that's not the only thing with Aaron Rodgers. He's several years removed from that, and yes, it applies some context to how we frame what Aaron Rodgers does, but Aaron Rodgers also makes news because of his sports takes.
Aaron Rodgers made news because of his dating history. There was an assortment of things there with Aaron Rodgers, making weekly appearances, not on a Twitch stream, on a mainstream platform where he was saying things that were politically divisive. Jaylen Brown's keeping the subject matter to himself. He's just defending himself. It didn't start with Jaylen Brown. I guess it started with him being on a Twitch stream and saying he had a lot of fun this season, but, I mean, really? Like, that's the starting point on tearing down a finals MVP?
I think let's give Jaylen Brown some credit for being smart. That's exactly how a smart guy would force his way out of Boston, by opening that door. We all knew what he meant. We all knew what that opened up. We knew that the chances dramatically increased that Jaylen Brown would not be a Boston Celtic once he framed it that way.
I understand that you think, and most people are going to think, that they have it right and have a right to their indignation. And I'm telling you, you got it wrong.
No. I'm not indignant. You're asking questions. I'm answering them.
This is one of the good guys.
I'm being helpful.
He's being framed as one of the bad guys, and this is one of the good guys.
Well, he's being framed that way because he is literally taking on other people in a I'm right, you're wrong type of way.
I don't know that he's being framed as a bad guy.
Ooh, I think that Jaylen Brown right now, you say his reputation is taking a hit, and I'm like, why and where and how? It doesn't have anything to do with basketball. When I say this is a couple of notches away from uppity, saying that this black man, a proud black man who has accomplished a great deal, is always in the crosshairs on something when whatever it is he's talking about isn't actually that divisive. It's not subject matter that everyone's fighting over whether he had fun last season or not because Jason Tatum was there. Like, it's silly. If you're discerning in any way, you know that what this person has accomplished puts him at the very top of accomplishment in competitive fields in American sports. He doesn't deserve what he's getting. Like, it's outsized and it's unreasonable compared to the credentials.
I appreciate how fair we're being. We also have to be fair and point out that he didn't disagree with the notion that he's the smartest guy in the room.
I understand, but it's not enough to get someone gone. Like, it's not enough to get to undermine all the other things that he is and has accomplished because he is smart.
I don't think it is what made him gone. I think he's gone from Boston now because, A, you mentioned the salaries, and you can't have two guys making that much money on the same team moving forward in today's salary cap landscape. And B, they know this player's personality, and they don't believe that they're going to be able to put the toothpaste back in the tube with Jason Tatum returning next year.
Also, we're playing a semantics game with Jaylen Brown by saying he never asked out. He also never said publicly, I want to stay a Boston Celtic. He just works through his agents like they should. Hey, I never formally requested out of Boston. No, we know. We saw the Twitch stream. We got what you were trying to say.
Yeah, that shit's all semantics. It's like when Giannis never asked for a trade out of Milwaukee. Oh, your agent did. That's totally semantics.
Yeah, but Dominique laid it out on why it is that he would be bothered by that slight by slight, item by item. It's not unreasonable for him to arrive at that position either. And when you say that's not the reason that he's gone from Boston, you can say that. But Cowherd's saying it is the reason. He's quoting an executive and a scout anonymously saying he's got a disease. His disease is that he thinks he's smarter than everybody, and Colin Cowherd is citing it. It's what Jaylen Brown is objecting to.
That's the thing here, is that it's all the reports after the fact. It's the fact that we can have the discussion about whether analytics is a part of it, whether the disagreements on being the guy are a part of it, whether the contract is a part of it. But now, after the trade, all of the things that Jaylen Brown has been saying about us in the media and the way that things get portrayed after the fact are all of these leaks of smartest guy in the room, he's condescending, he's this and that. When, by the way, like, by all intents and purposes, he is the smartest guy in the room, even compared to the executives. Look at the degrees he's had. Look at the lectures he's done at Harvard. I mean, he's a smart guy.
He's objecting to Colin's take while not denying and being condescending to his contemporaries.
He should have said second best year.
You guys saw at the All-Star game, right, that he had an incident and he is feuding with Beverly Hills because Beverly Hills, in terms of their police force, I've never seen anything like it in terms of a police force that gets someplace quickly because that's where the money is. Beverly Hills, the police arrive very quickly because of anything happening in Beverly Hills. And during the All-Star game in Los Angeles, he had a party in Beverly Hills. And I'm assuming what happened is just people didn't like that there were a whole bunch of black people that were there in the neighborhood. And then all of a sudden it ends up with Jaylen Brown fighting the system and fighting Beverly Hills and fighting everything else. You do understand, right? I understand why we all feel entitled to take Jaylen Brown and just make him an avatar for whatever it is that we find disagreeable in sports. And money is at the top of the list, okay? He's going to be the 7th highest paid player in the sport, and nobody believes him to be the 7th best player in the sport. So Boston is getting out in front of a money decision. I believe money is the root of all of this, but having the proud and defiant black man with the bank account now fighting with the entirety of the media, item by item and step by step on, you're not going to keep doing this to me where I have to just take it quietly because you're the only one with the microphone. To me, it signals a change on two fronts. It's not just that the Boston Celtics have never been laughed at like this and they're doing something to get out in front of what is probably coming for the sport in a variety of different ways, where they have to get the finances different because what worked 3 years ago doesn't work anymore. But still at the top of the sport somehow, as July makes the rounds and free agency is now held up with whoever it is that's left because everybody is waiting for LeBron James. I'd personally be stunned if he goes to anywhere but Cleveland because I think that that is clearly the best story. And at this point in his career, based on what it is you're seeing Rich Paul do on a podcast he really cares about, being the story and having the punctuation be the nice story, he can win in Cleveland without winning in Cleveland by just going back to Cleveland. And it's the only place he can do that.
Yeah.
And so I believe that that's, even though it's not an imperfect fit, I believe that that's where he will end up and that all of this is just a show because they want attention on Rich Paul's podcast.
And because they're making a show.
And they want LeBron James to be still part of the show. But let's go to the whiteboard that Max Kellerman and Rich Paul stole from Jeremy Taché. They're going to steal the puppets next. Let's listen to what it is they had to do.
This is just a hilarious example of they're listening to our show. Rich Paul stole our idea. Jeremy did the whiteboard last week, and then you see a couple days later, boom, you got LeBron in the middle with the lines. The same exact thing Jeremy did. Yeah. A little suspicious.
I like how you could tell which teams are the most serious because there were 5 teams and the starting lineups were listed. And then like on the periphery was just team names. You know, I don't need to take the time to actually put the lineups together, you know.
Would you guys be surprised if he went anywhere other than Cleveland? At this point, are you not? What is it in terms of betting favorites at DraftKings Sports? Is it the Cavs that are ahead of everybody as the betting favorite?
Yeah, I think the Cavs are the heavy favorite, matter of fact. And I think I say for some reason because it's really not going to happen. But Philadelphia is like the next favorite, even though there is no chance he goes anywhere but Cleveland or Miami. There's no chance.
I've lived long enough to see Stan Kroenke be a positive.
That's right. Kroenke's name is listed on the periphery there.
That's wild.
Right. That's right.
My favorite part, if we put the board back up, is not just that he puts a star next to Tyrese Maxey and mentioned that the Cavs losing Darius Garland is a big issue for him, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
He has Davion Mitchell
Garland
listed on there, which is great, and he keeps referring to him as off night. But if you look over at the Dallas Mavericks, it just says oil. which is just a remarkable thing to have as a pro on the periphery. This is a perfect whiteboard by Rich Paul. Oil.
How do you guys feel about LeBron James as the oldest player in the league? I'm going to say by miles, oldest player in the league by miles. Still having the attention currency that makes it so that most people are going to get the alerts on their phone and go to their friends and say, hey, LeBron is going here. Can you believe it? And I'm assuming that Cleveland is the one that would feel most anticlimactic, correct? Like, because it's so obviously the coolest story, the going home. He has spent a lot of time over the last 20 years framing the narrative, okay? He regrets some of what he did in coming to Miami, the way that he did that announcement, and when he left Miami, the way that he did it was more quietly by just calling a Sports Illustrated reporter and writing an article with him, ghostwriting an article with him that announced to everybody through Sports Illustrated instead of a TV show that he was going back to Cleveland. But that's going on 12 years now. He played for the Lakers longer than he played for any of these other teams. Didn't particularly want to leave Los Angeles. Has said before he doesn't like going back to Cleveland. Has said that recently, that he does not enjoy going back to Cleveland. But there's no, what is the second best stories? As this is like, it's very obviously and clearly, if you want applause at the end for something that has gone the rare route of he went popular, unpopular, popular. Popular, unpopular, popular, and when he got to popular, it's because bringing Cleveland the championship and coming back from a 3-1 deficit makes him golden forever in Cleveland. Coming back one last time at the end, what's the second best story compared to that?
I think the second best is it's definitely not Miami. All right, everyone hates Miami. Everyone's going to hate if he winds up choosing the Heat. I don't know that there's a second best. I think it is Cleveland that is the good story. But if I had to choose a second best, I think there's a lot of people who would like the idea of him and Steph Curry playing together, even though, again, he's not going to Golden State either. So if I had to pick a second, it'd be Golden State.
The Knicks would be a cool story, but it's really strange to say that I don't think the Knicks want him anymore because they would have to they'd have to move some pieces in order to make room for him. They can't just put him on the payroll and expect to pay him what he expects to earn and not lose other pieces.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremy, but I believe Rich Paul said it would have been the Knicks had they not won the title.
That's
but
right.
He didn't like the optics of him going after they won the
He
championship.
said that we wouldn't even have made a whiteboard. It would have been the Knicks.
So let me ask you guys this question, because in the reporting that I've done around this over what is now 16 years, I can tell you that both Pat Riley and LeBron James have learned some things after they broke up. One of the things that LeBron has learned, because initially when he got to Cleveland, they were really mismanaged. He did feel when he left Miami that he could go wherever it is that he wanted and take some of those lessons with him, and he wasn't wrong. But the Lakers were run pretty poorly while he was there, even though they won a championship while he was there. And it is something that he trusts here, which is that he knows they can get the players around him to complement him. And what he also knows in all of the places that he's gone, there haven't been any places that develop the people around him the way this place does. Cleveland didn't do it, and the Lakers did not do it. The place that developed the players around him, where he saw how they grew, right? He's seeing from the first practices how Patrick Beverley can't make the team because they get rid of him and end up keeping Eddie House. The things that they did in Miami, he had to leave because his only experiences were Cleveland and Miami, and Cleveland's famously mismanaged before and after. They had him, but they're mismanaged throughout. Like Dan Gilbert, everyone knows Cleveland's not run well. What the surprise wasn't that Kenny Atkinson blew it. The surprise was that initially Kenny Atkinson did it correctly by using Evan Mobley correctly, and then everything ends up falling apart in Cleveland because they're Cleveland. Like the same people are in charge there. He had to go to the Lakers to see, the Cleveland and Laker things. This isn't like Miami at all. This is a different way of treating how it is that we make players better. But I'm not sure how much appetite he has for being under Pat Riley's control. Like, why would he want to be more controlled now as he's older than he would be in Cleveland? Because in Cleveland, he does get his run of the place. And he gets to go there and knock Donovan Mitchell and James Harden and Evan Mobley to the side. He's not actually coming to play second fiddle in Cleveland. Here he is coming to play second fiddle.
So you don't think that if he were to choose Miami that there would be an understanding of, hey, we're not giving you the run of the place, that, we haven't changed that much since you left 12 years ago. It's one of the main reasons that you left, because we weren't going to allow that. But we are willing to meet you a little bit closer to the middle because we've learned a thing or two.
And Spo has more influence now than he did at that time of being a coach. They're much more of peers now after the work they did during the Olympics. But the thing about playing second fiddle, like here, LeBron James would be the point guard. Like he would run the offense here in a way that if he was playing with both Donovan Mitchell and James Harden as a basketball fit, it would be the same thing that he was dealing with in Los Angeles, playing a ton off ball. And at the end of games, those guys are going to be the guy with the ball in their hands. The Heat, we specifically said, need a wing playmaker who can get his own shot that's not Giannis or Bam. That's LeBron James.
Is it safe to say that Miami would ease up this second go around? The power dynamic is
what
totally
I'm saying.
different. Part of the selling point to LeBron was, you don't know how to win, we're going to teach you how. Now LeBron has proven, I know how to win without you guys. I'm an old man here. I'm helping you get into that conversation because let's be real, barring something totally unforeseen, if the Miami Heat don't add a LeBron James, they got their work cut out for them, at least for the next half season or so.
Like, a main reason that LeBron left in 2014 was because the Heat wouldn't allow him to do everything that he wanted to do. And then, years later, the Heat allowed Jimmy Butler all of that. And they're not going to allow LeBron?
A couple of things on that front, because the point that Jeremy is making when he was talking second fiddle, he was doing that on the court. I was not. He comes here, he's behind Giannis. Like, it's Giannis's team.
He's LeBron.
But he's already done this for Dwayne Wade in Miami. That's not the part I'm talking about. The part I'm talking about is you guys thinking and him thinking, it'll be different this time. Pat Riley's changed. No, he hasn't. No, he has not. And so
that rules us out.
So what ends up happening...
Pat better learn growing emotionally.
What happens here is like the girlfriend coming back to the boyfriend who says he's changed in order to get her back. And then you're under contract, and then you're unhappy because the rules are a little tighter than they've been in Los Angeles and in Cleveland. You guys, I've told you all the stories about... he's not allowed to just take the plane to Las Vegas with the team here. In a way, he was allowed in other places to just say, we're going somewhere else, I'm the star. There are things here that he would have to sacrifice that he does not have to sacrifice in Cleveland.
But the fact that they kind of bent for Jimmy Butler the way they didn't for LeBron, that implies that Riley has changed maybe on that front. A little.
You guys say they kind of bent for Jimmy Butler, but they did what they did there reluctantly. Like, whatever was done there was not done with their arms around Jimmy Butler. Hey, come on, let's do this together.
And they got burnt.
It was, yes, that's correct. They made some concessions for Jimmy Butler reluctantly, and at the end it didn't buy them much of anything. You guys do understand, correct? The last 10 years, LeBron has been making the rules, and that probably changed a little bit with Doncic. but that's about the only time in the last 10 years. Like, he went and got what he wanted in terms of freedom and championships by leaving in 2014. And so I don't know what his appetite is. If Miami's interested, Miami would like this to happen. If it does not happen, it will not be happening because of what I'm telling you, that LeBron doesn't want to sign up for something that is a less good story and comes with a whole lot more rules than that he'd have anywhere else that he played.
There's a lot of plugged-in people that I'm talking to in the industry, far more plugged in than I am, that say this is a foregone conclusion that he's going to Cleveland and he's just stretching this out because it's fun to be talked about this way.
I think that that's what's happening too. Do you believe that that's what the nation at large is looking at here and saying that that there's not any actual intrigue here? It's just a play for attention.
Reputably, though, Ethan Skolnick did report yesterday that the Miami Heat have not been told that they are out of it.
I mean, Utah Jazz probably not been told that they're out of it.
Yeah, no one's been told. I mean, Rich Paul is enjoying the promotion for his podcast. It's a fairly unusual thing, I would say, to go from 2010, you've got a televised special, an MVP in his prime is changing teams through free agency and changes the entire balance of power in the league, gives more power to the player, and also befriends somebody who now represents, I think it's 94 players in the NBA and like 600 people overall, who also wants attention in Rich Paul, fiance of Adele, who wants the attention of having the sports platform to himself. And now you have an agent on his own podcast. Go ahead and show me all the examples you have of this in your lifetime. An agent on his own podcast with Max Kellerman going through the entire whiteboard of possibilities, naming players, naming teams, just to bring attention to what it is that he's doing on his platform. It's just not something you see. It has no precedent in American sports, what Rich Paul is presently doing on his podcast with whatever this free period is to just grab publicity and attention.
It's because they'd never watched me before. Like, Rich Paul clearly watched everything I did and said, that's as good as content gets around LeBron. I need to take that and make it my own.
Your whiteboard is empirically better than his whiteboard.
Yeah, that's right. Nobody does it better than me.
Oil was a banger.
I was gonna say.
Oil was a banger.
Oil's really
also,
good, though.
You can golf down here, too. Come on.
But I put Jazz. Nobody had the Jazz up there.
I think Mike's right, though. My favorite part is, in parentheses, Kroenke.
It's a flimsy whiteboard, and it doesn't. What is that on the lower left? What does it say?
Brad and Tatum.
Brad and Tatum. Okay, so Boston doesn't.
Brad.
Yeah, the order there, putting Brad in front of Tatum there for Boston. Look, this whiteboard is super limited. I mean, Oil is doing some lifting there, but the rest is just an assortment of names and just a galaxy around LeBron.
How about Spurs? What could be the selling point there? I don't know. Let's leave that one blank.
When I was looking at all the teams, though, that what would be a cool story, like him going to the Spurs to put them over, like that could be a nice story.
Spurs. We'll get back to them.
I do like on the top right, it's under Cleveland. You got Garland, no Garland, and there's a negative in parentheses, and then right above it it's Weems. So it's just LeBron's friend is there, Weems.
That's right. Getting back to the World Cup for a second, I was bummed that Mexico didn't advance. England is making the case and is not wrong that that's as big a road victory as England has ever had as a country, going into that place and winning that way, where you're down to 10 men and you're fighting the last 36 minutes in a hugely hostile environment with 10 men against Mexico.
Mike, I saw that correct that last night is just the third loss in Stadium Azteca in 90 matches?
In competitive matches, yeah.
What the hell?
No, I've seen that place a little crazier because that's a more affluent group of people. But once Mexico got that first goal, and because it looked like for a 90-second stretch there that England was going to run away with this, and it might get ugly because Mexico's not built for that. That goal from Quiñones was so great in terms of establishing, okay, we got a banger here. And then the red card happens, and that place was vibrating, pulsating, and it was amazing and a huge gut check victory. second in a row for a team that is often questioned in terms of, do you have the guts for this? Are you mentally tough enough for this? Because we know you have the talent, but can you push through the weight of that badge? What happened in Atlanta against DR Congo tested their mettle. That tested their minds, body, and spirit. They're positioned quite well here now that they've answered those questions.
That shit was awesome last night. I was watching my boys. We were so into that game. And the final, 25 minutes, it was just a power play for Mexico. Like, they had the ball in their offensive third for like the final 25 minutes straight, just getting chance after chance. It was awesome.
Jordan Pickford, the goalie for England, was amazing in that game.
Well, listen to Harry Kane, England's star. If you can hear his voice, it's a little bit hoarse. And on the front end, I should tell you, he's talking about a player who injured himself, who wasn't playing, who broke his arm trying to jump over a railing.
Well, Harry, huge congratulations. What a contest, what a win. But I just firstly wanted to ask you what's happened over there by the England goal, because there looks to be some concern.
Yeah, Jordan, my voice is gone. Hendo just fell over there. I think he's okay. Just something to do with his arm.
Okay, well, as for the performance, I think it says it all, the fact that your voice has gone. That was some contest to watch. What on earth was it like to play in?
Yeah, it was a crazy game. We had to fight. We had to find something. Yeah, I've just been singing there. I can't really talk, but all the occasion, the team, everything against us, we found a way.
I was going to say, is that what pleases you the most, the resilience today? Because even your penalty, a word on that as well, not the one you scored, the one you conceded. What did you make of that?
Yeah, I thought I got to the ball first. It was one of those days that the ref gave a lot against us. And in the end, it didn't matter. So, yeah, I'm happy.
I'm going to try one more question if your voice holds out. What can this do for England going forward? You've got a quarter-final in Miami against Norway to look forward to. What can the England fans look forward to now?
Well, just look at them here. Incredible. Unbelievable support. Speechless. I can't even talk. So
Go and rest that voice. Rest up. Thanks, Harry.
Let's get the video of Jordan Henderson trying to be athletic and climb over something and clearly just breaking his entire arm. No!
Because we have the Love Doctor. The Love Doctor is here. He is ready. He is in his office right now. Dr. Greg Cody getting everybody ready for Mother's Day this weekend. And we have questions. The Love Doctor is going to have the answers. Who's up first?
I know a lot of people are going to come to you and they're going to want to know, how do you keep it interesting? Me, I'm not interested in interesting. So how do you keep it predictable? How do you keep it ho-hum? How do you just let it just be?
Was that Jason Tatum asking that question?
Young lady, you are my kind of gal. That's my lane. That's my lane of romance. I invented predictable. Nobody has perfected the art of dull routine like yours truly. As a matter of fact, little inside information here, my wife and I schedule our naughty time months in advance, like doctor's appointments. Quite often, she'll have to cancel because she said something came up. Unfortunately, sometimes I'll have to cancel because something didn't come up. That kind of thing.
It's good luck for us.
Do we have another question for the Love Doctor here after such great advice?
With Chris listening.
Oh, we're doing it, baby.
What are you guys doing, man?
Oh, you want question number 2?
Yeah, let's go question number 2.
Oh, yeah, Greg. Hey, man, I need your help, man. So I'm out of town for Mother's Day, trying to figure out what can I get my girl for Mother's Day in another city.
Oh, wow. Buddy, I'm worried about this. Not one, but 2 of the Love Doctor's marriages began rending like cheap fabric when Greg was either out of town at a sporting event or away at a doctoral conference. And the exes were doing the clandestine bumpy bump behind my back. Jack, I suggest you get your girl, which you'd never expect, a private eye to keep an eye on her randy ass.
You know about that randy ass, Nick?
I don't like this at all.
Thank you, Love Doctor. Don't go anywhere. We may go back to you. Appreciate you.
I don't like this at all.
Somehow the least embarrassing Cody on today's show.
Wait till Nick finds out that Chris, with Greg sitting nearby, admitted about a half an hour ago that when he's having a hard time becoming aroused, he thinks of his wife's twin sister to get in the mood.
It was a shocking revelation.
That's what happened, Nick.
Shocking.
That happened.
Yeah, he did.
No, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did. He did.
It was shocking.
Unnecessary, also.
I don't like. This isn't. Again, I might need a mean here. This isn't kayfabe. Kayfabe?
Kayfabe.
Which is it? I don't know.
Kayfabe,
Thank
wrestling
you.
nerd here at your service.
This isn't.
Zaz could have
Thanks,
helped
Mike Ryan. This isn't kayfabe. I don't like this at all. And I would appreciate if you guys turned the music off. This is not great.
So the Steelers.
This segment is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Now, the last time I made picks on a segment for the World Cup, we cashed 2 out of the 3. So I went over to the DraftKings Sports app, which is now available in all 50 states. And the market price I'm getting in our sunshine state of Florida is Pedro Neto for Portugal. When that dude is dialed in, when he is fully committed to playing really hard for Portugal, he gets on the score sheet. He's a big game player, I think. Pedro Neto is plus 567 to score. What a match we have at 3 p.m. between Portugal and Spain. And in the nightcap, another immense match. I like the market price on Pulisic to score or assist. Minus 104. Those are the picks. Again, DraftKings. La Corona es tuya.
Biggest game in 20 years.
Jeremy, give me some information, please, on things that Belgium is famous for, because what Zaslow did while derisively yelling at Belgium for complaining about the suspension of a suspension, he said, go to the locker room and make some waffles. And so I want some other famous things. I think French fries are eaten in Belgium in a way that's unusual. Don't they do mayonnaise with French fries there?
Yeah, they do. This is similar to like in Amsterdam. You can get a cone of waffles, and they'll put mayo on top of that. So they fry them once, and then they fry them again. That's the big thing, is they fry them twice. You got to make sure they're fried twice. If not, they're not Belgian French fries.
Called the Belgian dip.
You know about that mussels from Brussels? Jean-Claude Van Damme.
A couple of things I want to talk to you guys about here because it is the biggest game in more than 20 years.
Biggest game in 20 years.
The United States is favored to win tonight, and I find myself disappointed with the following before I get to the United States game, okay? The game that we're going to get is England-Norway. In terms of cultural feel, little different than Mexico-Brazil. Just the fan bases are wildly different. Erling Haaland is a delight to watch. He scored like 9 goals in a game as a teenager. He's absurd.
He's so good.
But he's just ridiculous in terms of how fast he is at that size. Now, Mike Ryan was saying before the show, and this is nonsense. He's like, this guy's been timed as having Tyreek Hill speed. I do not believe that it's 6'5". This guy with blonde hair who Chris can't decide whether he's impossibly good looking or impossibly odd looking.
Just interesting. I can't stop looking at him. That's all I know. I think I'm attracted to him.
Yeah, a little different because he doesn't have to wear some pads on him that might slow him down, but his top-end speed, I think from this World Cup, would have registered the 4th highest top-end speed in the NFL.
He's amazing to watch. He is 6'5". He is so damn Nordic.
He's defending his ass off,
It's where his eyebrows should be that I just can't stop looking at.
So I'll put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Erling Haaland, great looking or odd looking or both. You're allowed to choose both. Because he is basically leaking testosterone. I'm surprised people aren't slipping in the fumes behind him because he is giving off a whole lot of speed and masculinity.
He's such a curiosity because of how let's be real, looks a little strange, plays unbelievably appealing football because his speed, his aerial ability, the fact that he's gigantic, you just don't see all of those physical traits all put together, especially with that kind of skill where he can score with either foot, score aerially, where he can just out-masculine you, and he's got the technical ability to out-finesse you or just pull away. He is just such an unbelievable player. And again, I am not used to seeing him track back as far as he is. He has had clearances off the goal line. He is defending and playing with such pride right now for Norway.
That jawline, the hair. He makes me want to be a better man.
Where are you on the differences between the fan bases? We could have had Brazil-Mexico sopping all of South Florida and England-Norway. It is a great soccer matchup.
Brazil stinks.
Yeah, we had Brazil down here. They don't stink. A lot of their fan base. We have a Mexican presence down here. I just don't think we'd feel certainly as a small business owner, I am very happy with this matchup because culturally, I know the Mexicans can get after it with their gigantic cups. They love huge cups. It's crazy. But I am very excited for the English and the Norwegian to come here locally and drink our bars dry.
I will say the thing that does bum me, I like this matchup, Norway, England, but Brazil, Mexico, Dan, they have great fans.
Nick Wright is one of those fans, evidently. He is looking very...
This is AI.
That's not real.
Very leprechaun.
There's no way.
He put that out himself.
No, he did not.
He did. And I've already made it a meme. I put him in Mexican garb once they lost. This is my new crying Jordan, folks.
He looks like a leprechaun there, right? This looks like somebody. You could say that it's this time of year and it's Brazil, but if I told you he was at a Notre Dame game, if I told you this was Nick Wright attending a Notre Dame game, would you say that he looks Irish? He does not look Brazilian. He does not look like he's speaking Portuguese. He looks like a front-running Irish guy. And as soon as he jumps aboard the Brazil bandwagon, it makes Amin cry because Brazil ends up losing to Haaland, and he's just exceptionally Nordic. It is ridiculous what it is that guy is physically. He scores. I'd like to know what percentage of his goals are headers because he's just taller than everybody else, and he's very good at scoring on corners because his head is higher than all the other little soccer players.
Yeah, if you like to make a pick on the DraftKings Sports app, Haaland to score with his head is usually available on the sportsbook side. Yeah, certainly, and that's been a fun one.
A lot of surface area on that forehead. There's a lot of cranium there.
A lot of forehead. I feel like if we're talking fan bases, these Norway fans get a little bit of overhyped. This like boat thing that they do afterwards, like it's just not as fun and cool. Like I'm way more into the fans that go into the city and like Australian fans. We have a video here of Australian fans just bombarding a Walmart.
So sick of that song. They've made me hate Jack White.
You're not the only one that hated him. The Walmart employees hated them. They were soon kicked out.
So the initial chant was "We're going to Walmart," and the last chant when they were kicked out, "We're getting deported."
Texas, baby,
is what they were singing about. That song has been going on nonstop outside of my apartment.
We're going to Walmart
for a month. No, that da 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 da.
They all sing in that tone, right? Find a new tone.
Oh my God. It's the only thing about this thing that I want out of my city. Everything else is great. We have spent a ton of money to make these people feel welcome from all over the world. They are everywhere. Like, there is no escaping how much you hear even more different languages than you usually do around South Florida. You never hear this much song in the streets of South Florida because culturally the world has come to the United States, and it really has been, it's been a magical buildup, Zaz, to what I believe, no matter how easy you tell me that the host country had it, or one of the host countries had it, because this was lined up, and the United States has now, tonight, will play in its 5th straight game where it's a favorite, okay? Just saying that sentence to me is something that I couldn't have imagined at any point following U.S. soccer my entire life.
Biggest game in 20 years.
So they are favored to advance tonight to the round of 8. They are favored to beat Belgium, a traditional power, and I guess we can say, right, Paraguay, Paraguay, as Mike likes to say, had more impressive games later after losing 4-1. But this is their toughest opponent. This is the toughest. Tonight is the toughest game that they've had, even though they're favored.
I think it's interesting to point out, and you mentioned Paraguay, who France, terrible game. France won 1-0. Penalty was the only score in the game.
140 degrees on the pitch.
Terrible game.
Mbappe is furious at how they played with. Like
that was fun to see. Mbappe.
He just thought they were dirty.
The crap talk that went from both teams live. I don't know if the TV cameras caught it going both ways, but Mbappe, he was about that life.
But all of these powerhouses, France, Spain, Germany's out, Argentina, Italy didn't even make the World Cup. All of these traditional powers, and I'm not even including like Brazil, they've all either lost games or they are in tight games. They're being tested. They're facing adversity. The U.S. is kicking the shit out of teams. Like the U.S., and I'm not trying to say that they're better than those teams I just mentioned, but I do think it's interesting that the U.S. has not played a tight game. And okay, you can look at the opponents. I just gave you Paraguay, who the U.S. crushed, and France did not look good against.
And we have a common opponent recently that we can draw some data from. I know it was a warm-up friendly, and both teams made sweeping changes at halftime. But the U.S. handled Senegal, where Belgium escaped with their lives against Senegal. It took a 2-goal comeback very late in that match. Belgium did drill the United States fairly recently in a friendly, but that's when Pochettino was just trying to figure stuff out. This is a totally different situation from the last time these two teams played in a knockout round stage. The golden generation of Belgium that got as far as a semifinal and beat Brazil and was led by Eden Hazard, one of my favorite players of all time. Not many holdovers. Lukaku's still on there. He is so different now. He barely plays at the club level. KDB's still got it cooking, but they're at the tail end of their golden generation, whereas the United States now in the teeth of theirs.
You have a situation here, Zaz, where if You win tonight. What is about to happen is the American obnoxiousness of we can beat anybody. We can win the whole thing. I don't think they can win the whole thing. I think that the obstacles that are ahead of them going forward will continue to get more formidable and are appreciably more formidable than any of the 5 teams they will have passed in order to get to the next round. So I'm with Tim Howard on his thoughts that it is impossible. One of the most famous U.S. soccer players we have had this century says it is flatly impossible to imagine the United States winning the World Cup. But if they win tonight, you're going to get American bandwagoners who are going to think immediately, wait a minute, they're going to win the whole thing. And you can dismiss that hope if you'd like, but there's no fun in dismissing that hope because in this particular sport, the margins can be so thin that if you get a bounce or the other guys hit a post, all of a sudden you've changed all of the talent disparities. They cease to matter because the goals are worth so much. And to Zaz's point, they lost the game that they weren't trying to win. They didn't have any incentive to win it. The game did not matter. The other 3 games, they've won in various fashion because the last one they won was ugly. Like, that wasn't what the first 2 were against Australia and Paraguay. Those were the hope creators because you saw offense, you saw attacking, you saw a team that wasn't trying to protect a 1-goal lead or a 2-goal lead by playing scared. It was showing you over the course of a match there's no reason to worry here. I don't believe tonight is that. Belgium, to me, what Belgium did in coming back against Senegal is the most impressive thing I've seen in this tournament that's not Cape Verde, where they scored 3 goals in the last, 7 minutes of regulation and extra time. They end up scoring 3 goals to come back down 2-0. Every game you've been watching in this tournament, when someone's down 2-0 in the 80th minute, they're all over, except Brazil scored 1 there at the end. But you know they're over. Like, there's not a chance. At 2-0, you're done. 2-0, you're finished. But not Belgium. Belgium ends up advancing to this round. But what are reasonable expectations here, Mike? Because I think it's reasonable to expect them to win tonight, although you can only be so disappointed if they lose, because traditionally, throughout our country's history, this is a game the United States loses.
It is. This is only going to be the 3rd time if they win today that they've made it that far into the World Cup tournament. I think it would be at this point disappointing, especially with the Balogun ruling and the fact that they're favored here in a knockout stage round. That doesn't happen with the United States. But on the whole, that would be meeting expectations. Give me one more match, though. Give me one more match against either Spain or Portugal. Immense for the sport in this country. Give the nation that moment. Give the nation talking crazy, saying, hey, we're just a dub away from potentially playing France in the semifinal in Jerry World. Give us that. Don't let us get this one.
So I want to talk about the Balogun thing in a second, but before we do that, let's talk about Spain-Portugal for a second, okay? Because you guys benched Ronaldo early in the tournament. He scored 2 goals in the second game and has largely been in the way for Portugal as they continue to play him. Who is favored in that game? Because before the tournament started, I think Portugal was one of the favorites, but the way that they have played, I think, would undermine that status.
Spain's -110. It's very slight.
So yeah, it's a very small favorite.
Market price on DraftKings Sportsbook right now to advance. That's final whistle. Many people are learning that most of these picks that you can make are just 90 minutes, and then extra time you have to go into prop land. But to advance at the end of the game, Portugal +163.
How about this, Zaslow? I learned the other day, because I am not someone who wagers on soccer. I learned the other day in the Cape Verde-Argentina game, I had over 2.5 goals, and I thought that won. and it didn't win because it was 1-1 at the end of regulation. And I'm like, wait a minute. In all the other sports where I bet, if I bet the over, I get the overtime and the extra innings. And this, I learned it by being confused when I saw that my bets had lost because it was 1-1 at the end of regulation. I had over 2.5. The game ended 3-2. So I'm like, I win that bet. And then I'm like, why did I lose this bet? This is some sort of mistake, is it not? It's only the first 90 minutes.
A lot of sports books have turned to having a prompt when you first open the platform. Hey, just so you know, these are 90 minutes, having to explain the sport because there are so many people.
Not even extra time?
There are so many people that don't understand, that are new to making picks on soccer that have the rules explained to them, yeah.
Who makes that rule? Because, like...
It's how you can place a pick on a draw.
Okay, but like in hockey, you get the goal if it's scored in overtime, you know? So who makes the rule where, okay, but in soccer, we're not doing that. It only counts for
This is the only place that rule is so, correct?
Yeah, extra innings in baseball.
all the other overs that you bet in hockey and baseball and basketball and football, all of them include the extra time. Soccer's the only one that does this, correct?
But in hockey, you can also make a pick on the game going over.
No, but if you pick an over in goals in hockey, at the end of the game, what the total is what the total is.
Right, but that's because this sport can famously end in draws where the other ones can't.
Well, but not in knockout round.
Right, but it's still 90 minutes. They're not going to change everything just because of your newbie ass not understanding the rules. All right, I'm trying to be as welcoming as I possibly can.
Just because you're frustrated doesn't mean that I'm wrong.
We're coming to this sport. Let's learn their rules.
Calm down over there, man. Just trying to win some money.
In baseball over the weekend, I don't know if you guys saw this or if you care, but Aroldis Chapman set the record for most strikeouts by a reliever. That wasn't the funny part. The funny part was whose record he broke. He broke Hoyt Wilhelm's, who set the record at the age of 50. I am not so used to how it is that science has changed the aging, the Diana Taurasi and Tom Brady and LeBron James, that I can imagine in 1972, Hoyt Wilhelm getting out there 5 days before his 50th birthday and setting the record for strikeouts by a reliever. I'm sure none of you know what that number is, but it makes me ask you guys the question.
I guess.
You want to guess?
We do have an update on the Balogun situation. Belgium had till 8 a.m. Eastern time this morning to file a formal appeal. They sent out a very strong statement, as did UEFA. They were very displeased with this development. The deadline has come and gone, and Belgium did not file a formal appeal, which,
they missed it.
What are they going to do? They know that this wouldn't go their way.
USA! USA! USA!
Corruption for
USA!
good. Corruption for good.
Let's go! Corruption for good!
Corruption for
This
good.
gave me 20 years.
Important player.
Bigger missed deadline, Belgium or Anthony Carter's agent?
That is a deep cut right there. Anthony Carter's agent allegedly didn't re-up a contract clause that would have paid him $10 million? Not him,
No.
but Anthony Carter. No,
it was like $3 or $4 million.
No, I think look that up for me, Jeremy. I think it was a lot more than that. I don't think it was $3 or $4 million. I think Anthony Carter. Was it Bill Duffy? Was that the agent? I think it was 10. I think it was at least $10 million. We'll have Jeremy look it up and see who's right there. But getting back to what it is that I was saying about Aroldis Chapman, the number of strikeouts is 1,364, but steroids and an assortment of other things have made it so that baseball, which cherishes its numbers more than the other sports, baseball does a very good job of protecting its cherished numbers, but there are very few that still matter even in baseball. Can you tell me what they are? Like off the top of your head, what are the numbers that still matter in baseball?
Joe DiMaggio hit streak.
What's the number?
56.
That is one of them. I would put that very high on the list, maybe at the very top of the list.
4.2 batting average, Sid Williams.
That's what I was going to say.
There aren't very many, though, right? You can't do this in the other sports. Do any of the numbers matter in basketball or football? Never mind putting them in that class.
Yeah, 100
100 points.
2,632 matters.
That's a great one.
The Iron Man streak by Cal Ripken Jr. Also $4.1 million for Anthony Carter.
Good calls, Zaz. Is that it though? Like how many more?
That was tough.
How many?
The
more?
home run record still matters.
Does it?
I mean,
what is it?
70.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there
762. We're talking all time, right?
I was talking
doing
single season.
He was doing single season and didn't know, thus
72, no?
Thus nullifying his
73.
point. You nullified your point when you can't remember what the number is.
But if someone was pacing, I'm doing the thing of if somebody was pacing, would we be getting excited about it? We would. The home run record.
I mean, Schwarber has had 30 home runs at every All-Star break, and nobody talks about it very much because of how they've distorted everything. I think it's fairly amazing that as we sit here and talk about all of the numbers that have polluted sports, and you can't talk about Jaylen Brown now without the numbers in his contract being the numbers you associate with Jaylen Brown more than any other numbers. The fact that if we sat here as roundtable and I said, find me 10 numbers in sports, all of sports that still matter, I think you'd have a hard time finding 10. Because you just did Cal Ripken, and I don't think most people know that one. Like I know that he's got the longest streak, but I don't think that if I ask people what is that number,
Jeremy and I both had to look it up.
Yeah, I don't think 56. You don't 56. I know what you're talking about immediately. I know what you're talking about. Less so 402, but fine. Ted Williams also. I think he did that on. Didn't he go like 5 for 7 in the last game? He could have sat in the last game. I think he could have sat in the last game and still had a 400 average, and he decided to play and he went 5 for 7.
It's a balls move.
Played like a doubleheader. Well, yeah, balls moved. Also missed part of his prime to be a fighter pilot. Like that's we don't quite make him like that anymore. I want you to imagine LeBron James in a fighter jet. Like try to imagine one of today's athletes just fighting in a war because he's fighting he's flying a warplane.
I got the story here. So he could have sat out and had a 399.55 average rounded up to 400. Instead, he played both games of a doubleheader in which he went 6 for 8 and finished the season hitting 406.
It's weird that the 6 rings of Jordan matter more, I think, than Tom Brady's 7. Sure. We always mention the 6 rings. I guess
6-0.
Once LeBron retires, maybe Tom Brady's 7 rings can get a little bit more shine. Because in the modern era, that seems impossible to recreate.
Do you think like the other fighter jets, who are fighting against the U.S., like they could see that it's LeBron in that jet? Like, yo, just shot down LeBron!
Jeremy, look up for me where Ted Williams' head presently is because
it's a great question.
His body was frozen rather famously, and I think his head was separated from his body at some point, so it's in a cryogenic chamber of some sort. But that's quite the history that Ted Williams has, where you got 402 fighter pilot and severed head apart from your body after you've died. I do want to talk for a moment about the idea of, let's consider the idea of an athlete at the height of his American fame stopping playing for a couple of years to fly fighter jets. I was just impressed by Jaylen Brown feeling like he's the smartest guy in every room. How about as a side trick, Ted Williams is he's flying in a war.
Is that more difficult or playing baseball if you're Michael Jordan?
Easy, Lib. Honor our troops.
It's in Scottsdale, Arizona. That's where the
other
head
guy?
is.
Any football numbers matter? Any of them?
7 rings, I think, for Tom Brady. The more we get separated from it, the more bonkers it'll feel.
I mean, I used to know Marino's 420, but it's been passed a few times now, so it doesn't really mean anything
17-0.
You gave me, that's good. 17-0 is good. So let's see, if we were putting a top 10 list together, let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can get to 10 as a group, because 100 is on there for basketball. 100 points in a game by Wilt Chamberlain would be on there. But what else from basketball would be on there? Because LeBron has recently broken all of the career point stuff. And
6 rings in basketball.
So
because that's been always the tiebreaker there.
So why are you doing 6 instead of all of Bill Russell's? Like you're just
because no one counts that because the players were wearing belts on their socks.
Bill Russell had 11 championships, right? So
Yeah,
twice as many as
there were 7
Michael
teams.
Jordan. Okay,
Get out of here.
You see a competition?
The baseball numbers, I don't think the home run record is still one of the numbers. So, like, I do think the 56 is one of them. Do you have anything from hockey that is worth putting on this list, a number that means anything in sports?
All-time points. That's unbreakable.
What is it?
Wayne Gretzky. I don't know what it is.
That's the point.
Yeah, there's a couple of numbers that you think are, like in NFL, I'd be like, oh, well, Shula's win record. That was such a big deal. And then I was like, what is that number?
No, that one's 325, though, isn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Gretzky's
I'm getting something different.
Gretzky's 2,857.
You're getting something different because some places count playoff wins also.
I have 6 on the list right now. In the NFL, it's 17-0 and getting to 7 rings. NBA, it's 100 points and 6 rings. MLB, 56-game hitting streak. NHL, all-time points. That's 6 things we have so far.
I don't think NHL classifies.
What?
All time? No, because you didn't know what the number was. You're our hockey expert.
You don't have to know the number to know no one's ever reaching it. Right. It just seems impossible.
But when I say 56, you know what I'm talking about. Still, baseball doesn't matter the way it does. The numbers don't matter. When I say 56, you know what I'm talking about.
I think the Cal Ripken streak falls into the same all-time points. Like, I don't need to know the exact number to know that's never going to be broken.
I think you do.
Will we know LeBron's points record when the dust settles and then treat it like it matters?
No.
Because I don't really know Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's number off the top of my head.
Chris, just so that you know, I'm not doing unbreakable records here. I'm saying to you, and I'm asking the audience, give me the numbers that matter. That all of a sudden I give you a number, and it's an easy identifier for you. I don't think we're going to come up with 10 between the entire group of us.
I did know Klose's World Cup record, and now we're in this wonky place where Messi and Mbappe are both kind of chasing it. Mbappe, wherever that lands when he assumes a record, could very well be this tournament. That'll be viewed as one of the impossible records.
18 majors golf.
Yeah, that's a good one, actually. That is a good one. Anything from tennis that you guys would go to? Like, would you go there with anything that Djokovic has done or Federer? Like, would you let me ask you a different question as it regards what the United States is embarking on this evening. Where are your rooting interests outside of the United States? Like you were saying last week, Zaz, that you wanted the road to get easier. You wanted some of these stars to get knocked out so that you could have more hope for the United States team, but the stars aren't getting knocked out. The stars outside of Brazil, most of the stars, I guess Germany, but outside of there, most of the stars are still around, and the United States doesn't have stars of that caliber. Mike, do you have a rooting interest in Portugal versus Spain?
Yes, I do. And if the United States doesn't get to the final, it's because they lose to the winner of this match in high probability along the way. I know exactly what I want for the final, and it's easy. It's Portugal-Argentina. Give me that. We finally found a way that Stephen A. can talk about this. Give me that. And while Ronaldo's been all over the board, yes, he scored in the last match. In the last match, Vozinha, the goalkeeper for Cabo Verde, completed more dribbles than Ronaldo. He has not been playing well, certainly by his standards, outside of the great match against Uzbekistan. But I know what I want. I want Ronaldo's legacy depending on going through Messi's.
Who is Spain's star right now? I mean, it's not Yamal. I know he's upcoming. He's their best guy?
Dude, he was their best player in the Euro that they won, and he was 16 years old? It's Lamine Yamal.
Okay, because, just looking at the U.S.'s road here, I mean, if Morocco were to knock off France, it's not like you're going to face all the heavy hitters. On the other side of the bracket is where Argentina and England and Norway is. Like, you would only have to face one of those teams if you get to the final.
But you just did Morocco beating France. Most likely it would be France.
Why? I just watched France struggle with Paraguay.
The U.S. has benefited from a very good path, a very easy path. That path stops being easy in the very next round if they get past Belgium. Winner of Spain-Portugal will be impossibly difficult. Potentially France. And look, Morocco, nothing to sneeze at. Morocco went to the semis last World Cup.
They kicked the shit out of Canada this week,
Portugal has been pretty unimpressive, though, for what it is. I was told Portugal was going to look
Which is why I like them in this match. There's a reason why they are underdogs entering this match, because they have not played their best game. I take the other side of it. I'm like, individually, Bruno Fernandes, gone missing. Vitinha, who's one of my favorite players in the world, terrible. Ronaldo, playing very poor. The fact that they have gotten this far and have not shown us remotely close to their ceiling, Remember, Argentina lost to Saudi Arabia last World Cup. Spain, before they won their first World Cup, had a disappointing effort against Switzerland. This is part of the story that goes with a lot of championships. It's not always just Germany just lighting a fire throughout the entire tournament. Sometimes it looks like this. And I think that they're going to be better for it, much like England is better for these tighter games that are testing them. I like the way that Portugal is just getting by and not being talked about and everybody's doubting them.
Hercules.
We presently have a stream happening with Miami Heat member Giannis Antetokounmpo with his brother Alex and a streamer named Neon in Greece. Let's see the latest on the LeBron hunt.
All right, we're not talking about all that stuff. They want you to be his teammate.
Miami?
Yeah, LeBron.
Cheeky little shrug there from Giannis.
That was cheeky.
It was cheeky. Just a little.
A shrug? You broke into programming here during the World Cup to
Show it again. Show me that shrug again. Show me that shrug, because that's a cheeky shrug. Look at that face. You telling me? Just
Good stuff, I-Team. That's actually very helpful. That lets me believe that he's still having discussions behind the scenes.
And his brother giving him a look of like, don't reveal too much. Look at his eyes looking across at Giannis.
Do you think, like, wait a second, that's my roster spot.
That is what he's looking at right there. The Heat have a roster spot that's open for Giannis.
It's like, what about me?
Giannis has a podcast that he does with Giannis.
And that's Alex.
Well,
we got all the Antetokounmpo brothers.
Giannis already has one. He's wondering where his spot is.
Can you guys tell me, based on what it is that we were talking about, Portugal and Spain there, Mike Ryan is headed out when to Atlanta? Are you headed out tonight?
Same day, in and out. No, tonight I have other plans. We got a big match. Big match or not a big match?
U.S., Belgium, Seattle. That's in the United States. You know about that 12th man? You know about that 12th man? That's a big game.
Big game.
I'm flying out tomorrow to watch Argentina, Egypt. Mo Salah versus Lionel Messi. That's a big one. One that I'm a little disappointed in. I wanted to see Cabo Verde. I was like, man, I can't believe I'm disappointed to see Messi in Atlanta, but I'm going same day, in and out.
How is it possible, Mike, that you find yourself, and this happens, I don't know how often this happens to you guys, but it's one of my favorite things in terms of watching sports to happen. I'm watching, and I don't know who I'm rooting for, and then I know. Like, I go into the game, and I'm like, okay, let me just watch this. And that's what happened, where I'm suddenly rooting against Messi. And I'm like, what world am I living in? How did that just happen to me? I was not expecting any of that to happen to me. And it's because the greatest thing in sports outside of patriotism is the upset. It's the surprise. Like, and you're talking about, I don't know if you guys have been betting any soccer, but if you have, you haven't seen a whole lot of games in this tournament where someone is a 2.5 goal underdog. Like, that's the reputation that Argentina has, and the reputation Messi has is not undone by very often by a 40-year-old goaltender.
Yeah, to briefly touch on that match again, it was a literal movie. Just think about the things that happened within that game. The saves, the clearances by the defenders that narrowly avoid going in their own net. The worldy second goal, how close Cabo Verde got to equalizing yet again. The fact that Argentina kept going ahead and you kept telling yourself, all right, well, that's game. Their only shot was to keep this level, right? And they battle back. All right, Argentina, another knockout blow. Go away. No. Here you go. Equalizer. It looked very clear that Argentina was trying to save their legs. That was a complete no-show by pretty much everyone that wasn't Messi in that game. And Cabo Verde, the second goal, where the player who had his own checkered story with Benfica after what happened with Vinicius earlier this season, running to the stands to find his girlfriend in the stands. The entire team celebrating in the stands after that equalizer. Guys, goosebumps right now. That is a movie that plays out on the pitch. That will 100% be a scripted thing.
I have some Trump quotes for you. Would you like some Trump quotes on the reversing of the red card ruling?
Meh. Absolutely. You're welcome.
Quote, I saw the play and I'm a person that loves sports. That wasn't a foul. That wasn't even an infraction. This referee, who is a little bit suspect, if you check his past, he made a call that nobody could believe. He's our best player, or one of our best players, and he gave him a red card. I didn't know what that meant. Yes, I asked for a review by FIFA, and he has also claimed credit. He says, I asked for a review by FIFA. I spoke to a man who's highly respected, Gianni Infantino. I'm the one who got them to do it. It was not Biden. Biden was asleep.
Oh, come on.
No, you're lying.
Are you ready to do your catchphrases? I heard there's some controversy around the. It's the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody. He is counting down his top 50 catchphrases of all time. It has been a successful months-long joke. What is the controversy surrounding your catchphrase list? What is the issue?
It's big. The controversy is that based on quality demand, the catchphrase countdown has suddenly increased from a top 50 to a top 60.
What?
That's
What?
right. And it's controversial.
Of course it is. You told us it was a top 50, and we told you. We told you it was. We told you it was something you were making up as you went along, and that you weren't going to get the numbers right. And now you just changed
He
it.
botched it to such a degree that there are so many good ones left that we're just pushing all
I
the
knew
current
that was
ones
going to
back.
happen, though. That's exactly what we were saying.
Your brain beating me.
How did this happen? What was the ruling? What did the committee get together and decide? How did it happen that it got expanded? Now, no one's going to complain about this because more catchphrases is great, but we told you this was going to happen, and we told you this was a sloppy list by you.
The others, they all learn from me.
Yeah, right.
No, I looked at all the catchphrases remaining, and there was only 14 left, but there were like 20-something good ones. So I'm like,
thank you.
Let's go.
So wait a minute. So how did you do it though? Are there now? Is there now a new list 50 to 60, or
No,
what are you doing?
everything that's been said is just like what was 50 is now 60.
Yes.
There were 14 left, and now there's 24
So we're
left.
not in the top 20
No,
anymore.
now we're at 23
we were
and
in the
24.
top 20 of the countdown, and now we're at 24.
I'm telling you, they're bangers though. There are just bangers
There
left.
is nobody that's actually upset about this development. Come on.
You've got to honor the list, though.
I'm telling you, I got a peek. I don't know the exact order, but I got a peek of what the top 10 looks like, and it is just banger after banger.
Yeah, Yeti hated it. He's against it.
Yeti thinks that we should just make him live with the world he gave
You
us.
should.
Like
I mean,
there's-
I asked you several times throughout this whole process. Have you thought this out? Have you planned out the list? You know that there are 50. You kept assuring me that you have it all under control.
Driver comfort is paramount.
He ain't wrong. You know, part of the beauty of me is a bit of serendipity, a bit of
You're the kind of guy.
unpredictability. And so the same is true with this list. Okay, whenever you do a countdown, Zaz, bank this information for your future. Whenever you do any sort of a countdown, controversy is good. You want somebody to say, that sucks, that should be lower, or that's, wow, I can't believe that's not higher.
So wait, so what used to be 50 is now 60.
Yes.
So we've gotten fraudulent rankings up to now. All the numerical rankings we've gotten up to now are all wrong.
He can give you the updated, like number 60, he can give you the update of whatever.
I know, but they're every previous incarnation of this that we have given the American public and internationally has been wrong.
I would say adjusted more than wrong.
Adjusted.
Maybe to Greg's credit, too, I've never heard of a top 60.
Thank you.
Well, how do we know it's not going to end up being 62 because he's going to think of two more on his way home because he didn't plan any of this
It
out?
would never be 62. It could bump to 65. It would never be a number like 62.
We would obviously go in fives, Dan.
Here's also the thing. This is a big question of mine. So you have left 10 out, which is why you are expanding it from 50 to 60. But the 10 that you left out are automatically like they're in
They're
the
top
top
24.
23. You're saying top 24.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, he left bangers out.
Right.
This had to be done, guys.
Yeah, it had to be done, like he says.
Again, it doesn't have to be done if you're dealing with a responsible person who plans it
That's
at the
true.
beginning, as opposed to just making everything up as he goes along.
No, listen, and we're in the sports business. We should know this better than anybody. Rankings always change. When I was born, Everybody agreed Babe Ruth, greatest player ever. Not so much now. Rankings
That was when I was
changed.
growing up. It was a hot debate. Everyone agreed, though. Babe Ruth, that young kid's got a future.
It was an argument back then on sports radio. Tris Speaker or Babe
Yeah,
Ruth?
that's right. Lou Gehrig was in play.
Just
as well.
telegram in your thoughts.
Hercules Gomez, as I was saying earlier before I was rudely interrupted by Giannis shrugging in Greece, is going to join us here in a little bit to talk about the biggest game in more than 20 years.
Biggest game in 20 years.
More than 20 years. It's been, I don't,
20 years.
I can say it's the biggest U.S. soccer game that's ever been played. And you can disagree if you want, but it isn't hyperbole. This will be the most watched and most anticipated U.S. soccer game that there's ever been, correct? Because we've never had this kind of promise in the tournament. Even if they've advanced to this stage before, it's not looking the way that they have in this tournament so far, where they announce themselves with authority upon arriving. They win 4-1 against the team that you just saw, France. The favorite of the tournament, France, that had looked very impressive right up until they ran into Paraguay, which the United States beat 4-1. You can say that U.S. soccer has never felt better than it does feeling going into this game, which creates expectations, which is not something that the United States has played with very often.
For the men's side, I understand being swept up because 0-2 did not feel this way, but they played Germany, who ended up going to the final. They had a spot at the semifinals on the line against Germany in 0-2. They looked pretty good. They beat Mexico 2-0 on their way to that. They had a great performance against Portugal. And if Frings doesn't have that handball, maybe the whole footballing world looks different with the United States in the semifinal there. But it also happened at 3 o'clock in the morning. It was not accessible. You don't think that they talk enough World Cup soccer on daytime programming now? Non-existent back then. I think I had to watch that World Cup on Telefutura. I think the World Cup was on tape delay here in the United States on ABC when it was Brazil-Germany. So this is big. This is huge. I think the last time they played Belgium in a knockout round where Tim Howard stood on his head was also pretty huge. There would have been a 4th of July matchup, I think potentially against England, that everybody was getting excited about. But yeah, given the numbers that we've seen, which are just bananas on both languages, this is the biggest game in U.S. men's history.
Let's talk about this with Hercules Gomez, and that's a good correction on the difference between the men and the women, because I am just talking about the men here. And speaking of both languages, Hercules has an assortment of shows that have Spanish title. Ahora, let's see if Zaz knows any of the Spanish titles. Ahora o nunca. Do you know what that means, Zaz?
Yeah.
Ahora o nunca.
I already said yeah.
Yeah, but what does it mean?
Now or never.
Oh, you do. Football picante. Do you know what football picante means?
It means giant football.
Not giant football, spicy football. Football picante.
That's a spicy football.
That is a spicy football.
Gigante.
Yes. He's also a 17-year veteran of soccer, and I'm guessing has never met another Hercules. I think I asked him this last time we talked. You've never, nice to see you, Hercules. You've never met another Hercules, correct?
I have never met another Hercules. I used to work at a bank, and I actually inserted in the database see if there was another Hercules. I've never met or heard of another Hercules in my life. But Ahora Nunca is now or never in Espanol, and we're on 5 days a week, all sports. But glad to be on with you guys. How are you guys doing?
Good, thank you. Put it in context for us. You played in 3 World Cup matches in 2010. Is this the biggest game in U.S. men's soccer history?
Without a doubt. Mike was referencing 2002, and that is in the modern era as far as the U.S. men's national team has ever gotten to. People forget how that happened. They stung the world. They surprised the world in beating a very good Portuguese generation in that game 3-2 to tie the host country in South Korea, and actually lost to Poland. It was South Korea beating Portugal again for the second time in that group phase that backdoored the U.S. men's national team as a second-place team to that round of 16 game against a CONCACAF nation, which was Mexico. And both teams, Mexico and the U.S., loved that idea of playing somebody they knew. You've never had a situation where you're the protagonist. You were one of the tournament darlings. When you go back and look at the good performances in this World Cup, France versus Sweden, you go back Mexico versus Ecuador, you go back through the run of performances, everybody's going to go back to that first opening game, the U.S. men's national team versus Paraguay. That is still today referred to by many outsiders as a staple of a team that could surprise in this tournament. So you've never had this goodwill like you have now.
Let's play for Hercules the sound of Tim Howard saying something different than other people like Zlatan are saying. When Zlatan says it's not ridiculous to think that the United States can win the World Cup, Tim Howard begs to differ.
The U.S. cannot unequivocally win the World Cup. The U.S. will have to play the greatest game they've ever played 3 times in a row. Sorry, 4 games in a row. Round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, finals. It is literally impossible for the U.S. to win the World Cup. That's going to come across crazy. People are going to say I'm whatever. That's just the reality. But we're super excited for this ride we're on.
Well, I feel great now.
Hercules, what are your thoughts there?
I tend to agree more with Tim Howard than do Zlatan. Listen, Zlatan works for a network that is trying to get you to tune in, to trying to get you to jump on the train and see how far the U.S. men's national team go. That's great. You're selling something. The World Cup is different. It's an almost 100-year competition in which only 8 countries have ever won. And by the way, the newest country to break that barrier was Spain in 2010. And that generation won 2 Euro championships and a World Cup and had the most ridiculous collection of world-class players that you could ever assemble. The U.S. men's national team has arguably 1 or 2 players that you could say are world-class, has never gotten past the quarterfinals in the modern era, was in a semifinal in 1930 when there were 8 teams. And what Tim is alluding to, he's absolutely right in terms of the gauntlet that they will face. Let's say you get past Belgium. After that is going to come a quarterfinal versus a team like Spain or Portugal. After that, you could get in the semifinal a perennial power and my tournament favorite in France, only to maybe, let's say, face an Argentina and Lionel Messi in the final. It is a gauntlet unlike any other. But the problem here is, Dan, Mike, guys, that it almost feels un-American to say it. But you shouldn't be afraid to say it. We're not favorites. The U.S. is not favorites in this game. We can dominate the majority of things around the world. But not this. This isn't ours. And until you prove that it's yours, it's a ridiculous statement to make.
But do they have to, like Tim Howard there is saying, they have to play perfect games from the round of 16 on? Do you believe that? They have to play perfect games?
I do. I do believe they have to be perfect. The U.S. men's national team has a certain skill set that I think lends itself to be very competitive in this tournament. Athletically, they are as good, if not better, than anybody. They can match up with the best teams in the world, and I think that's going to give a team like Belgium a ton of problems. They have a good core, 11, maybe 13 players that you could depend on. But if you test that depth, and we saw it versus Turkey, you could be in trouble. Last night, the Mexican national team showed us how perfect you have to be. They dominated England. And on the network that shows the games, there's this momentum map, and you can see the peaks of momentum for the Mexican national team. There are 2 dots in that first half that England has. Those are the 2 goals they scored. Like, you have to be perfect against these teams or you will be punished. Mexico has a clear home field advantage, in terms of altitude, the smog, the people, the Azteca, the lore, the myth. And yet they lost this game against a 10-man England. You have to be perfect in this World Cup as you advance because the competition is that much better.
Herc, now the Flo Balogun thing has become highly controversial, only more controversial because politicians are getting involved. We should say it's not without precedent. We all are surprised and shocked by this, especially how late it came, but entering the tournament, Ronaldo had a 2-match ban lifted. Tarek Salman from Qatar, also 2 matches lifted. Otamendi and Moises Caicedo they both have had other red card suspensions lifted, but the timing of this seems unfair. The optics are bad. What did you make of the decision to overturn a suspension that, lost in the discourse, was unjust?
I love that you brought up precedent because there is no World Cup precedent for this. You brought up players that had their sanctions reduced that were pre-World Cup. Now, there's going to be the brainiac who says, well, what about 1962, Herc Garrincha? I don't think you want to be associated with that precedent. That was a red card before there was a red card suspension of an automatic 1-game ban when the rules were different. The implementation of that came in 1970. And by the way, the only reason that Garrincha, the talented Brazilian playmaker, was allowed to play is because mysteriously the linesman who saw the incident disappeared afterwards. There was bribery scandals. There was all types of corruption. There was all types of scenarios and theories of why he fled the country. So I don't think you want to bring that as an example of light here. Back then, there was also political pressure. So I think it's sad because Folarin Balogun is used right now as a political puppet, and he's anything but. He's a talented player who for the first time, the U.S. has a player they can rely on up top to this magnitude. Landon Donovan has the CONCACAF all-time World Cup goal-scoring history. That's at 5. Folarin Balogun has 3 in this tournament. He's going to play more tournaments. He could break that. And he's being used politically here. It's sad because the U.S. men's national team for America gained so much goodwill. I do believe they were tournament darlings. And now, unless you're an American, you don't see this for what this is. Nobody is saying that the red card wasn't right. I don't think it was a red card, but I do acknowledge that it's a polemic play. FIFA is not saying they got this wrong. They're not saying they rescind the red card. They're saying they suspend the suspension. All they're saying is they're going to allow him to play. And Belgium, they're not even appealing. Belgium's saying, we just want a transparent explanation of what's going on. And it's FIFA who is saying, okay, you are appealing. The optics here are so terrible. Everything that I've heard about this, what this World Cup would be, the ticket prices, the host countries for both the United States and Mexico, the fears, that went away once the tournament started. And we became likable. The United States became likable. Mexico became likable. The optics here are anything but.
Which means what? Like, what have you read? What has been interesting to you? What does the real collateral damage of optics mean?
Well, in the grand scheme of things, it'll mean nothing, because that's what FIFA is going to make it mean. I mean, the U.S. men's national team is not at fault because they get one of their best players back, and the news cycle will go by if they advance versus Belgium, and many will say there's an asterisk behind the win, but the U.S. won't care, and you should not care. You can only control what you can control. But this is murky waters for FIFA. This is murky waters for the game. If there can be political pressure, and it's not my opinion, the President of the United States has come out today and said that he had phoned Gianni Infantino. If there can be political pressure to correct, if that's the word we're going to use here, scenarios in this game, what's going to stop other politics from doing the same? This is very murky.
When you say the name Gianni Infantino, does that sound to you like a mafioso's name?
wouldn't be able to tell you there, Dan. Listen, my name is
Objection.
Hercules. I'm nobody.
Stereotypes.
Exactly. I'm nobody to defer to anybody's name here. What I will tell you, Dan, is FIFA has a history of these unsavory things, and the United States men's national team does not deserve this. Folarin Balogun does not deserve to be the poster boy of this. It is downright ugly what he's being used for, and it doesn't sit well with me.
What are the advantages the United States has tonight?
Well, you guys like the betting odds. This was a pick'em in the eyes of Las Vegas before the Folarin Balogun being allowed to play decision. Now that he plays, this tilts the odds, I think, in the U.S. men's national team favor. And I think Vegas feels the same. Athletically, they match very well against Belgium. Belgium's a little long in the tooth in certain positions. We spoke about the 2014, last time they played. Tim Howard, FIFA record 16 saves. He was the hero in that game. That was their golden generation. Thibaut Courtois, Kevin De Bruyne, Lukaku, they're still on this team. It's not the same team right now that beat the U.S. men's national team in March, 5-2. This team physically has a lot of limitations. Mentally, they're not where many thought they would be. Athletically, I don't think it's a good matchup for Belgium. I think the U.S. men's national team can run this team into the ground. They can still lose because individually, Belgium has players that are probably more technically gifted and individual better players. But I do think the U.S. men's national team matches up very well athletically versus this team.
When you mention Belgium being older, can you walk me through, as a 17-year veteran, what the cost is of playing in this kind of weather and playing the game that Belgium just played against Senegal? How much carryover is there to having to win the game with 3 goals 80th minute on, when you got people cramping all over the place, the heat is unreasonable, and you're an older team? Explain to me the body's drain on Belgium specifically.
Yeah, great question, Dan, because before, the World Cup was always considered a young man's game because it was a game every 3 to 4 days in the group stage. This World Cup is now a game every 7 days. But as you advance from the round of 32 to the round of 16 and so forth, you're going back to that 3 to 4 day format. And as you're an older player, well, it takes its toll on you. And FIFA, unlike any other seasons of the past, has congested the schedule in a way where these players are feeling the effects today. And it doesn't matter who you are. If you're a player like Kevin De Bruyne, who's not used to playing in this extreme heat, not used to playing a day game, even if it is 5 o'clock Pacific time, not used to travel in a country of 360 million where you can go from one time zone, the East Coast to the West Coast and go 3 hours, and it's a 6-hour flight, and all these different things that come into play, it takes a toll on the body and the opposition. The U.S. men's national team is so athletic. They can run you into the ground. They will compete with you on all levels physically. That's going to take you to a place that you've never been, a depth that you've never been. As a player, once you get older, those limitations become much more evident on the field as you advance. That's where Belgium is today. Belgium doesn't have the physicality of a U.S. men's national team. They have the tactical know-how, but they just experienced 120 minutes versus Senegal. While, yes, the U.S. men's national team played, with 10 men for about 25, 30 minutes versus Bosnia, but that was over 90 minutes. They didn't have to play 30 more minutes in those type of conditions. That takes you to a different place, both physically and mentally.
Hercules, can you explain from your experience in the past playing in Stadium Azteca how difficult what England did last night was?
Yeah, I was so impressed. You knew of the talent of the English national team, but they've always been a team that would let you down, let themselves down, because emotionally, mentally, they wouldn't be up for the moment. Playing in Estadio Azteca is unlike anything that I've ever experienced. You're at over 7,000 feet altitude. There's a smog cocktail with that altitude that comes into play where it's very difficult to breathe. Your head is telling your muscles, your legs to do something, and your legs are saying, hold on, not right now. And the opponent. The Mexican national team, if anything, is a very good possession team. So they're going to make you run. They're going to keep the ball. And as you saw, England got dominated for long stretches of that game. They had to go to a depth mentally, physically, that I've not seen them go to. And you can hear it. I don't know if you guys heard Harry Kane's post-game when he's talking, it was like one of the Muppets or the Sesame Street characters. He could barely get the words out. His voice had changed from the mental and in the physical, just toll that game takes on somebody. It's unlike anything I have ever experienced. And the moment they got off that bus and walked down the tunnel, it's a long corridor, that tunnel. And you're looking at the artwork, as you walk down that tunnel. And they're going to see the hand of God, Diego Maradona, 1986, versus their national team. They're going to see a picture of Maradona between 8 English players in the goal of the century. They're going to know the history and where they are. Pelé lifting up the World Cup trophy. That could be daunting. And yet it wasn't. They overcame. It was one of the most impressive victories I've seen. And the first time anybody has beaten the Mexican national team in World Cup history in that stadium.
Yeah, Jordan, my voice is gone.
She dragged him through a very long interview where he kept answering follow-up questions.
We had to fight.
He had nothing left. Hercules, thank you for being on with us. Last question on your way out the door. Give me the teams in the tournament, name them, that have been more impressive so far than the United States.
The French national team, number one. There's a gulf between France and everybody else. And in that everybody else, I would include the U.S. men's national team. But that have impressed would be France. And honestly, maybe 45 minutes from Norway versus Brazil, maybe a cameo impression from the Argentine national team, Colombia versus Portugal. But there's a massive gulf, which is why I think the U.S. men's national team can make a run and go far because of the difference here. But it's France and everybody else, honestly.
Yeah, I've just been singing there. I can't really talk, but...
Hercules, good seeing you. Thank you for being on with us. Always appreciate the time, sir.
Saludos. Take care, guys.
Gracias. So where are we, Zaz, on making sure that everything escalates here to the proper intensity? I told you that what is happening in my neighborhood is very loud, but the quietest day that I have had was the United States playing at night. That's the quietest that it was downstairs because of the foreign infiltration that there's been here. And I'm guessing that most United States fans are watching at home instead of serenading us in the streets the way that the foreigners are doing here in South Florida.
That's my plan. Like, Chris, I know you went out with your father and you watched the last U.S. game at a bar. Are you going out tonight? I'm planning on watching at home.
I'm actually doing the Zaz move. I haven't watched a game yet with my daughter, and she's into this, so tonight I'll be going over to my dad's house to watch it with the family.
I just like how Dan is saying foreigners.
I am hoping, though, we get to the next one. We get that Friday afternoon match, and then that's when the boys will play.
Did you enjoy, Chris Cody, seeing the rich man's vegetable, broccolini, being stuffed into the maw of Woody Harrelson as he sat next to Chris Rock? And how do you guys generally feel about all of these people like Nick Wright and Chris Rock suddenly showing up in their Brazil gear out of nowhere, like wearing Halloween costumes because they're
Nick?
So what's happened here with Nick? He shaved the beard some is what's happened, right? It's not just that hat is ridiculous on its face, and it's also that face is ridiculous on his face.
He said he was wearing the glasses too because he doesn't want to be recognized. So he's got to wear the glasses inside the stadium.
I got a bunch of people tweeting me about broccolini, the rich man's vegetable, because if I could just picture that suite that they're in, that little spread you got back there. I mean, I don't know if I'm going for the broccolini, but you know it's there, looking fancy, probably a little garlic.
Did you guys cover or take any interest in the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift nuptials?
I was all over it this weekend, Dan. Not a joke. I was on ESPN all weekend, so I was all over the Kelce Swift wedding Friday night.
You're working a lot, Zaz. ESPN is working you a lot. What was your coverage of the Friday wedding? They shut down some streets.
Yeah.
Some people are upset that some taxpayer dollars are being spent. I don't know how Jeremy felt about this as our biggest Swiftie fan around here.
Former. He's shifted big time. Now she can't do anything positive.
Former?
Yeah, this is tacky. This whole thing, all of it, everything she's done for like the last 3 years has just been like it's finally jumped the shark for me.
I love. Were great.
I love a lot of her music, but these last few albums have all kind of stunk. and the songwriting is trite, and so is the way that this has all kind of come together. I mean, what's George Stephanopoulos doing at this wedding?
I know what's going on. It's a guy that's overseeing the detention centers going. That guy you peeved.
Oh, yeah. I mean, don't even get me started on that shit.
I mean, we all had to have those, like George Snuffle. That was a great one of like, why is he there?
You were about to say his last name.
George Snuffleupagus?
The Snuffleupagus.
Why was Dean Blandino at this wedding?
That's the one that I'm looking at. When are they sitting down putting the list together? Like, hey, we got to make sure we invite Dean.
So if you met Travis twice, you're there.
I'm going to make this the royal wedding. Like, come on.
Well, give me some of the details because I've managed, and this was a Herculean feat. The most of the Herculean feat of this entire segment is that I consumed exactly zero information on this. So I don't know a single thing about any of the details. You guys are informing me that George Snuffleupagus was there. You're also informing me that Dean Blandino was there. I do not know who was there. How many people were there?
Thousands.
It's like 1,000.
Everyone in the world.
Like I'm telling you, name a football player.
Yeah.
And I will tell you he was there. Name a country music star, name an actor, and they were there.
I mean,
it's
Dan,
insane.
You had Pablo Torre officiate your wedding, which was great, all right? Did you hear who they had officiate their wedding?
I don't know anything about this wedding.
All right, so that's a no, right?
Dearly beloved, we have gathered here today.
Is that Adam Sandler?
To join in holy matrimony.
Adam, wait a minute. That can't be. You guys are joking, right? No,
not at all.
No, that can't be true. Adam Sandler?
Say I do. Say I do, please.
Wait a minute. Adam Sandler officiated this wedding? He was the spiritual, put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you think of Adam Sandler as the spiritual center of love? Punch Drunk Love is one of the great romantic stories told in film.
And Travis, if you accept, please say shibbity-doo.
Dan, Paul McCartney performed I Want to Hold Your Hand for the first time since the 60s!
Stevie Nicks performed.
She walked down the aisle to her own music.
Hello.
I mean, what are we doing?
They didn't have any bridesmaids or groomsmen. It was just Jason as the best man and Taylor's brother as her man of honor.
That was cool.
But you guys sound like you're hating a little bit.
I'm just like, I was honestly into all of it until you just saw the fact that the next morning, Robin Roberts, Strahan, and George S. were there like, yeah, we had a great time. Thanks. It's just like, why is George Snuffleupagus there? Like, seriously. Like, Mike Vrabel was there. Like,
That's not what made news. It was who Vrabel was with that made the news.
Oh, terrible look for Vrabel. Terrible look.
Going with his wife?
There was video of him coming out of the hotel. There was a car waiting right outside the hotel.
He's got it.
And they're filming him coming out of the hotel. He's not only is he walking like 3 or 4 steps in front of his wife, doesn't even hold the door for her. He just walks right into the back seat of the truck, and then the wife goes in. That's a terrible
That's
look.
who you want at your wedding?
Dan, that's a terrible look.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Do you walk 3 or 4 feet in front of your wife or husband?
That's an odd thing for us to call out. Like, you should be 2 feet away from her.
Well, no, you shouldn't be, though.
The door thing, just with the optics of everything going around, you're right, though. You got to do the door.
I get it. I get the logic in it. I don't want to be photographed and give the paparazzi that as I attend Taylor Swift's wedding. Yeah. Don't want to be seen. Don't want to be snapped in the same frame. But this seems like a pretty good party.
So 1,000 people were there, Madison Square Garden. I did read beforehand that they were going to go castle. They were recreating some sort of
and
castle.
A garden.
It was a forest.
And did you see a lot of people complaining about it and taking interest in it? Because there aren't a lot of weddings like this that could take place in America that would feel like this. I don't even know who it is that you would put on this list, but Taylor Swift getting married at Madison Square Garden would be very high up on my list on whatever pop culture marital love moments you can have involving any 2 people.
It's not even the biggest wedding that took place in Madison Square Garden. 1991 SummerSlam, Macho Man Miss Elizabeth, match made in heaven.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Was Macho Man's marriage or wedding to Miss Elizabeth at MSG bigger than the Taylor Swift
91 SummerSlam,
Travis
Dan.
Kelce? This union, once upon a time, was quaint, and then, as with anything, there is an oversaturation that makes people instinctively sort of recoil. I don't think a whole lot of people dislike Travis Kelce, although he has a bit of Neanderthal in him and has a couple of incidents with Andy Reid, the lovable Andy Reid, that involve a physicality that we usually don't tolerate from employees with management in sports. But Taylor Swift, to Jeremy's point, has written some very heavy-handed songs during her union with Travis Kelce. But for all the haters, they got to a finish line here many of you didn't think they were ever going to get to. And whether you think it's manufactured or whether you love to make your assessments about what love is real and not real, this is an underdog story. They got there. It is a surprise that they got to the wedding because everybody was doubting and all the heartbreak of her songs, whether or not this was real. And I think no one's disputing that it's real, right? No one's disputing that these two people are in love, that this isn't manufactured for attention, that this isn't a publicity, this isn't clout chasing. Most people have been wrong about what this union was, correct?
I think the relationship is great. I think it's awesome that these two people found a way to get to this stage, get married, have one of the great love songwriters of all time in Adam Sandler officiate their wedding. Look, I Want to Grow Old With You from The Wedding Singer, one of the great love songs ever. But when you're dealing with this type of show, when you have the privacy of Madison Square Garden, which is important because everyone's wedding is spied upon, but then you have the just TNT married, by the way, we could have workshopped the logo. That logo is just, this is not great. But when you have the privacy, yet it's also heavy-handed with everyone who's going to be there, it's that part that's the bit of the turnoff to watching this all unfold. Happy for them. Go live your life. That's beautiful. But it's all just a bit corny.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here this day to join Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce in holy matrimony.
What do you think? Who finished second place? If Adam Sandler had said no, or did someone else say no before they landed on? Adam Sandler's just a super unusual choice. Would you not agree?
All right, we're going to play a game. It's called Guess Which of These Four People Wasn't at the Wedding. Okay. Hugh Grant, Ethan Hawke, Elizabeth Banks, Abby Wambach. Who was not?
I think this is a trick question. I'm going to say all of them.
They were all
there.
there. Yeah. I know you were down there. Welcome, Abby Wambach. Hello. Elizabeth Banks is a good actress. Yes, very good.
I'm dead serious when I tell you that if you had said to me, hey, hypothetically, pick the most ridiculous person as the officiant of the wedding, Adam Sandler would have gotten votes. Who knew that either of them had a relationship with Adam Sandler?
They don't, apparently. Yeah. Apparently, they're not even friends with him.
No.
I think there was a lot of that going around, stuff that went through agency. All I know is that Pablo Torre was pissed he didn't get an invite. Pissed.
That can't be true, Zaslow. You're not telling the truth that Adam Sandler has no relation to either one of them? That can't
Travis
be right.
Kelce was in Happy Gilmore, too. Of course they know each other.
Look, I was all over this weekend, Dan. Adam Sandler, there's no prior relationship.
Why is Joe Buck at this wedding?
Who else was there? Give me some of the people who were there. And 1,000 people sound small to me, just given who they are and given how much territory they occupy on the cultural landscape. If you tell me there's a wedding for famous people at Madison Square Garden, I think it's going to be more than 1,000 people. Am I a fool there in thinking you don't need Madison Square Garden for 1,000 people? It is. That seems like a terrible venue to have a wedding in. I suppose that
Josh Kushner was there.
Event planners could do anything.
So with the heat.
good with the space, I suppose, but that doesn't seem like a great. I don't think of a romantic place having nearby urinals that have been used, or a urinal trough that is used by the city of New York during Knicks games. That's not what I associate with the height of blissful symbolic love.
Do you think it was hard to, when they're making the guest list and putting together, where everyone's sitting, who you put in the middle of the of the row and who got the aisle seats? Like, that'd be tough, right?
On the list, there was BB Doobie. Of course, there was BB Doobie. And Doobity Doo. And Laura Dern! She's good. Big Little Lies.
What other ridiculous details did you enjoy while covering it this weekend on ESPN Radio, covering it better for the worldwide leader than anyone else was covering it?
Very controversial, Dan. Of all those people, all those ridiculous names that you saw were invited, most notably Dean Blandino, head of officiating, or former head of officiating. Blake Lively, snubbed, not invited. Remember, they've been really close friends for a long time. Taylor Swift has supported Blake Lively during that lawsuit she had with the director from the movie.
Those details are crazy, incidentally. Like, if you have not read about everything that Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and everything that's happening in their life in that lawsuit, the details are just totally nuts.
Not friends anymore. She was not invited.
What other snubs were there that are controversial?
Mike Gesicki made the list. Don't worry about that.
Really? Is he still?
If you're a tight end, you got invited.
He was with the Bengals last year, right? So everybody from the tight.
I'm telling you, if you just met him.
She plays concerts for tight end day.
Yeah.
The thing. Julian Edelman got in there. Yeah. Joe Buck.
I mean, Joe Buck belongs there more
he
than
does.
Mike Gesicki
Dean
does.
Blandino had to be like, this is a joke,
That's
right?
gotta be more of
I
a-
can't be invited to this.
I think it's even more of a UFL thing than an NFL thing because they own a UFL team, the Kelseys.
Do you think when Dean Blandino shows up to the Garden, he's still kind of wondering, all right, is this real? Am I going to get in? Are they letting me in?
Why are you saying Joe Buck like that? He's the voice of the NFL. He's he's one of the
to invite. That's like a colleague. Yeah, he's interviewed me a couple times. Like, are they friends?
The dude from Train made it?
Yeah. That kind of makes sense. A lot of musicians, a lot of country
Train's
stars.
so underrated. Yeah, they're super underrated.
Drops of Jupiter all-time banger.
No, Drops of Jupiter's all time, but no, man. Like, look out the top 40 hits. There really isn't a lot of precedent. Like Aerosmith. Yeah, like, you don't get to be top 40 played when you're that age.
They got a little Nickelbacked.
Nickelback, I think, is aging gracefully, too.
I agree. But so we think that's going to happen with Train sometime soon.
I hope
like you're
so.
out ahead of it.
Look, a lot like Rice-A-Roni, a San Francisco treat.
Put it on the poll, please. Is Nickelback aging gracefully? And, Zaz made a sour face as if he was smelling something bad. Not aging gracefully. Let's kick it up with a minute left in this hour.
Biggest game in 20 years.
Kick it up.
Biggest game in 20 years.
Bigger.
Biggest game in 20 years.
Bigger.
Biggest game in 20 years.
Who's ready around here to not be disappointed tonight? Are you shitting me?
That's how you do
yes,
it.
Yes,
Who's ready to not be disappointed?
Who's ready to hope?
Biggest game
Who's ready to believe?
Biggest game in 20
Those
years.
Belgians are old and tired.
Who's ready to say thank you very much, Mr. President?
Make me a waffle.
20 years.
Donald Trump, savior, saving the American dream, making America great again at soccer.
Biggest game in 20 years.
Great again at corruption.
Biggest game in 20 years.
Great again at scoring goals against Belgium.
Biggest game in 20 years.
Great again at natural-born citizens.
Biggest game in 20 years.
We will get to Juju in a second with some heartfelt feelings.
Happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
I know it'll get forgotten. The games are the thing that matter. The results are the thing that matter. But the overturning of the red card, the way that it happened, where you're just this clearly using the United States tool as a propaganda tool, as a political device to get something that is easy to applaud done. We're all in agreement that that's ugly, right? It's not that it's not the way that you should be doing things, where the president of your country is calling in a favor to get a result overturned. Zaslow doesn't agree.
I'm kind of with that. I mean, I kind of like the call.
I'm into it. It wasn't fair, the red card, and the appeals process needs to be ironed out. There needs to be more transparency. We did undo a grave injustice in my part for my POV, but this has opened up a whole can of worms. Now appeals are flying because they've just created this whole new rule. So I think France is already appealing, like a yellow for Elise. They weren't clear about how this came about. This caught everybody by surprise. It happened a day before the game, and Donald Trump is not helping Gianni Infantino. Not that that was his aim at all, because Donald Trump's looking to help Donald Trump. This makes Donald Trump look good. This is the rare World Cup-related dub that Donald Trump can have, and I'll tell you why in a second. But with every word that came out of his mouth today, and I just saw the clip, he dug a deeper hole for Johnny Soccer, as he likes to call him. This reeks of corruption, because that is two entities that have their own reputation that is well-earned, by the way. So this is not going away. This is ugly. It's not how I wanted it to go. Granted, I definitely wanted Flo Balogun to play. This increases our likelihood of winning a lot more than if he were off the field, though I believe we would have been able to win this match with Ricardo Pepi in there. This is taking what should be a good thing, something that probably would have been celebrated as a good thing had it happened 72 hours ago, and making it a very controversial and divisive thing.
I'm good with it. I saw something that wasn't right. I don't care who called it in. I wanted Balogun to play. I want to win. And you know what? Anyone who looks at the United States is like, yeah, you know, let's say they win this game tonight. Maybe they win a couple more games. Like, yeah, but, you know, you had the thing that happened with Balogun. Like, I laugh in your face. I just want to win. I just want to win.
For a president who is really smart when to go out and grab sports to legitimize him, especially during turbulent times, this was a very smart maneuver. Now, we do know Donald Trump to embellish a little bit, but it is proven that he picked up a phone and tried to influence FIFA's decision here. It's the rare World Cup win, because I don't know if you've noticed this, Donald Trump has not yet attended a World Cup match. He is scheduled to hand out the trophy and attend the World Cup final, but he has not attended a match. Why is that? It's because in this country, soccer fans are more progressive. And if he chose any other random game, even outside the U.S., he would be roundly booed because of how unpopular he is globally. We've seen on social media the White House tried to ride the coattails of the U.S. soccer team's success with, you know, the White House tweeting out, defend the homeland, and all these coded phrases for a team that openly defies what his policies are all about, because they are made up of immigrants. You are picking up the phone to get yourself a win on the back of a birthright citizen. How embarrassing for you, ultimately, given that that's somehow your second biggest L you caught when it came to birthright citizens this week. Malik Tillman, German, born in Germany. You can't do the same sort of rah-rah bullshit that you do typically when you go to sports. So what do? You find your easy win? He found it. He's good at that. But make no mistake about it, it's embarrassing he had to do it, because this team is in open defiance of what he represents.
This is just what Trump does. He uses corruption to his own gain, even if it's within sports. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't you guys care about America? I bleed the red, white, and blue, baby. That's what we do here. This is America, Jack.
Let's bring Juju aboard here. Juju, hello. How you doing? Good to see you.
Thank you, brother. Good to see y'all as well, man.
Do we have a birthday today?
Yeah, I mentioned that already.
Happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
Juju, have you gotten
Yes,
over?
sir.
Have you gotten over all the Jaylen Brown Celtics stuff? Are you on the side now where you've thought about it with your team, the Celtics, and you actually think it's a good trade?
I mean, I'm out of there. The Celtics salute Arrivederci. Like, I'm in the portal right now. Enough is enough. I don't like how they did, my boy. And I think we need to stop putting so much or giving so much weight to what Colin Cowherd and them keep saying, boy, when he just clearly gave credit to Daryl Morey for the trade. So, like, we can't have it both ways. Where he said this, and they saying this, and, oh, yeah, thanks, Daryl Morey. How about get him completely up out of here, out of my TV?
Wow.
Salute.
All right. Wow. Throwing him out of your television. So do we have any jokers then this weekend? Like, would Colin Cowherd be one of your jokers if you had?
Yeah, man, he definitely would be, but I got a packed house this evening. First off, my brother Josh Allen has started to learn how to golf. And admittedly, I'm not a golf guy. So I don't know the golf rules and how you get better at golf.
Yeah, this is how you do it, Juju. This is exactly how you get better right here.
This is how you do it right here, yes.
This is, let me see, let's roll the beautiful beam footage. I'm not a golf guy.
Because
but
it's all,
I just feel
Juju,
like the
it's all
brother
in the hips.
purple shirt,
Yeah.
he need to get up, though.
All in the hips. All in the hips. Tap, tap, tap.
How much does the brother in the future get paid to do this job? Because I'm pretty sure if I went out there, I wouldn't get that treatment.
For the audio audience, there's a man on his knees, and his face is at the center of Josh Allen's butthole.
Inches away. Holding with his two arms his hips as he does a shot.
Yes, it's a little bit aggressive.
Secondly, I got Brandon Ayuk, man. Enough is enough, bruh. I spared you for like 3-4 weeks from this list. I don't know how early we want to start the CTE conversation, Dan, but I feel like this would look like it early on set stages of it, in my opinion. Listen to what my boy had to say to Jaylen. Damn.
Probably gonna text me talking about something. You on my team now. You follow my rules. Boy, I'm a grown-ass man, boy. You gonna have to stop running behind your mama, and I might believe what you talking about. But until then,
He still plays for the 49ers, folks. He's talking to Jaden Daniels. It's getting out of hand. Have you seen any of this ass?
He's effing with us, right?
I don't know what's going on with him. He has thrown away a lot of money, and he has spent a lot of time desecrating whatever it is that he's built.
Very strange.
Yeah, man. It's like I'm trying to spare him because it seems as though he's having whatever Jaden Ivey had going on earlier in the season. So prayers to you, but somebody need to snatch his phone expeditiously. And lastly, without video footage, when y'all brought up my boy Mike Vrabel, I had to put him on the list, man.
Yup.
What you going through right now, you cannot be seen not opening doors. You supposed to be on the street side of the curb, all that little stuff, bruh. And you dropped the ball on this one.
Yeah, you're right. Terrible.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Does someone need to snatch Brandon Ayuk's phone expeditiously?
Yeah, and you got to snatch Colin Cowherd off his television. Apparently, also a lot of snatching. Juju, we'll get to the polls in a second here, but let's do the reverse then of Jokers of the Weekend. Do you have maybe any flowers to give out today?
Yeah, man. Mike said it earlier in the show, bro. Cabo Verde versus Argentina, man. That's definitely the best match I ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, good job.
Bozenia is goated, my boy. The guy who scored the goal, like he said, the second goal, whenever I was just like, dang, it already happened to him. He scored the goal, ran into the crowd, kissed his girlfriend, and Messi and the referees had to wait on that shit, bruh. Like, I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all gonna have to take a break. I'm like, bruh. And then as soon as the game came to conclusion, how the music just started playing without commentary, I was like, oh, no, the dream is over. They've returned Cape Verde to a hero's welcome as expected. But that team, that game, and salute to Messi as well for waiting after the locker room situation, getting a picture with all of them. All of them are posting his pictures, just being grateful to be on the pitch with somebody like Messi. Cabo Verde, these are for you.
Nice. Yeah, really good stuff. Juju, let's get to our polls for today. What do we got?
At Le Batard
Yes,
Show
sir.
is where you find us on the polls, and you can vote all day and night. He will update. He keeps on top of this at all times, and it's important that the results get verified daily. What do you have for us here, Juju?
Should the immaculate inning be 3 pitches instead of 9? 67% of the audience says yes, it should. Hey.
We have a brief update. England has now submitted a formal appeal or
for the
informal
love of
appeal to
God.
have their red card rescinded. This is, as Jose Canseco once famously said on our show, that doesn't just open up a can of worms, that opens up a can of anacondas.
Is a classically trained penis definitely uncircumcised? 84% of the audience says yes, it is. Is Jalen Brunson the greatest Knick ever? 54% of the audience says yes, he is. Do you think of Adam Sandler as the spiritual center of love? 57% of the audience says no, they don't.
Watch 50 First Dates.
Was Macho Man's marriage to Miss Elizabeth bigger than Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding? 79% of the audience says yes, it was. And last poll, do you walk 3 or 4 feet in front of your spouse? 66% of the audience says no, and those are your polls.
One more Trump quote for you here to close us out. Quote, the game tonight is going to be amazing. If they beat us, we'll say it was rigged just like the election in 2020.
Biggest game in 20 years.